Good morning and happy Friday. Dan Kasper Show is. What up, everybody? I thought I had the mics on. There we go. We did it. People messing with the boards. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy little TGIF here this morning. Appreciate you tuning in. Welcome to the DK Show. Appreciate you checking us out wherever and however you may be tuning in. If it's on the radio dials, you got a couple of those, 105.1 FM. 790 AM, also available online at sportstalk1051.com. Video stream up and rolling on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Google and Alexa home devices, Sports Talk app, all that fun stuff. But happy Friday, everybody. Well, we'll get you through the morning and get you a little bit closer to the weekend here. But, how's the brackets looking after yesterday? Some busted already? Maybe, depending on maybe how you had Arizona, how far you had Arizona going or such. But already some busters yesterday. Arizona falling in the first round, Virginia falling yesterday too. So kind of the madness already beginning in day one. What do we got in store for today, right? But looking at the leaderboards, we do have somebody in first place alone by themselves with 14, and that's Mr. Timothy Gable over there with alone in first place. But just one day in, anybody's ball game here. So got to give a shout out to my kid. He's beating me in the brackets only by one. It's only by one, but got to give the little 5-year-old some credit there. So, but you can check out the leaderboard for yourself by visiting our website, sportstalk1051.com. We'll talk some college hoops and such. And if you're looking for somewhere to hang out today, maybe during a little bit of lunch and watch some of the games, we will be over at our good friends from Hy-Vee. I'll be over there from about 12 to 2 this morning if you want to stop on by and grab yourself a little lunch. They've got a couple of specials going on for today as well. Boneless wings and fry basket for just $10. Dan Goodburger basket, fries and that, $10. Free beer Friday, so you get one free beer today, and then after that, you get a Man Cave Light for $2, $2 a pint. That's a pretty darn good deal right there. So hopefully we'll see you for a little quick lunch or something like that. Watch some of the games, taking a little hoops action in. Should be a good day today. But we'll talk some college hoops, talk a little bit about the brackets throughout the morning and such. And big thanks to everybody who signed up for our bracket challenge too. Big thanks, and we're going to be giving away some prizes from our good friends over there at Hy-Vee. But we'll talk some college hoops. We got the Bucks last night. They fell to the Indiana Pacers, 139 to 123, thanks to a pretty dominant second half. I think that's safe to say, to kind of call that from the Pacers yesterday, or last night, I should say. But Giannis getting a little bit of foul trouble there too. No, we didn't have Brook Lopez in the game, tweaked ankle and such. I mean, the guy's played like this was only his second game. I think he missed all season. So, but maybe would have made the difference last night. Giannis, 25 points. Every starter for the Bucks in double-figure scoring. Giannis leading away with 25. Holiday 19. Middleton 16. Portis 16 too. Grayson Allen also missed the game too. So Bucks were down 2 starters in this game, but you know they came out outscoring Indiana by 10 in the first, and then Indiana outscored them the last 3 quarters. And they just couldn't slow it down. Got to give the Pacers some credit. Pacers were shooting lights out from 3 too, 47%, almost 48% from the 3 last night. So we are 12 games left. That's it. Just a dozen games left, people. Just a dozen games left in the regular season. Bucks are still holding on to that first place spot in the Eastern Conference, 2 games over the Celtics. Bucks are going to get a couple days off here. That should, I would think, do some wonders for like a guy like Brook Lopez and Grayson Allen, who are a little bit dinged up right now. Couple days off. Toronto at home on Sunday, then another couple days off. And then they've got the Spurs coming up on Wednesday before a little bit of Denver, Detroit, and Indiana, but it's going to come by fast. It's going to go through here fast, especially with everything else going on with March Madness and opening day coming up now in less than 2 weeks away. It's going to fly on by here, people, but still hold on to that one spot. I two main things for me when it comes to this Bucks team. Two main things: get the 1 seed, but be healthy heading into the postseason. Be healthy, get that 1 seed. All right, so we'll talk a little bit of Bucks throughout the morning too. We'll throw a little baseball talk here too, as now we are officially 2 weeks under from opening day, March 30th. And now the Brewers are going to have to start kind of figuring out what their opening day roster is going to look like, what maybe some tough decisions with, like Voit and such. But we'll throw a little baseball talk. If you're a Mets fan out there, probably a little bit of down news with your closer, Edwin Diaz, going to be out for the year, tearing his patellar tendon in the World Baseball Classic. So, I mean, high price, just sign that contract too this offseason, right? That massive contract. Now, I wouldn't put it past the Mets to try to make a move. Maybe they won't be able to make a move or won't make a move until, as the season starts or close to that trade deadline. But given how the Mets operate, I think we all could kind of assume if it turns to kind of be a weak spot for this team, they'll make a move. They'll make a move. But now we can finally say less than 2 weeks for opening day and start talking about baseball games that actually matter. I'm not saying spring training doesn't matter, but you know what I'm getting at. But we'll talk a little baseball in here. Packers wise, Robert Tonyan, he will not be back with the green and gold. He signed a 1-year deal with the Chicago Bears. If you remember, Robert Tonyan after the season did express a desire to stay in Green Bay. So one of the reasons too was it was closer to home. He's from Illinois. Well, he just got a little closer to home. So signing a 1-year deal to go to the Chicago Bears. So now you kind of look at this and you look at, the first week of free agency, and you look at some of these teams and the players who have made deals and such, and obviously we know with the Rodgers decision and that, but you kind of look at this and maybe reevaluate everything, and now you're like, what are the biggest needs now for Green Bay? Have they changed in your opinion? You don't have a tight end anymore. Alan Lazard isn't coming back. Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back. So do the team needs change here a little bit? Are they adjusted, like in terms of priority? Because I'm looking at part of it too is like how important now is bringing in a veteran backup quarterback. One guy I was kind of curious about, would he be a good fit? And he's familiar with Matt LaFleur, would have been like a guy like Marcus Mariota. But he is signing with Philly. That's the report out there that he's signing with Philly now. So Gardner Minshew, I know, Sam, you wanted him, but he's signed up with the Colts, which makes sense. Their new head coach, offensive coordinator from Philly. They're going to be drafting a youngster. Got a veteran guy over there too, so that makes some sense. Or does Green Bay kind of do a similar thing to what they did in 2008 when Aaron Rodgers was going to be the starter? Anybody remember what they did? They drafted Brian Brom in the 2nd round and Matt Flynn in the 7th round, I believe it was. Brian Brom did not work out, didn't even get a job, and then Matt Flynn got the job as the backup. But that first year with Aaron Rodgers as a starter, they went with a younger route. They didn't necessarily go with that veteran quarterback. So do they try to go out there and bring in a veteran, or maybe that's not as important for the Packers at this point? I don't know, but where do have the priorities kind of changed or shifted, I should say? Maybe that's the best way to put it. Have they shifted a little bit for you in terms of needs? You're looking at it, and your tight end depth chart currently is what? Josiah DeGuara, who's kind of an H-back type of role, Tyler Davis, mostly for special teams. And tight end was obviously a big need to begin with, but now that we know for sure Tunyon isn't coming back, does it move up a little bit? And then you look at wide receiver. I'm really curious to see how Goody and the Packers are going to build this team. Do they look at like a wide receiver and a tight end? Looking at their current roster right now, wide receivers, they're youngsters. Tight ends, not a lot of talent there. So do they go and address that in a draft and bring in some youngsters, or do they try to bring in an impact veteran that can help out right away, like a tight end out there, or a wide receiver? The wide receiver market's kind of bare and such, but think about that for a little bit and give me your top five or something like that. Okay. Think about that. Give me your top five. Um, so we'll hit that up a little bit later on. We got boys state basketball, day 2 continuing. Whitehall falling yesterday. McDonald is going to be the second game today, so they'll tip off the second game 20 minutes after the conclusion of the first game, which tips off at 9:05, which is Wassa Newman and such. So, but if you want the updates, you can give our good buddy Brandon a follow. I believe Justice was there, or at least Justice was there yesterday. But day 2 of the boys basketball tournament tipping off today too. So if you're one of those that maybe isn't a big basketball fan, you might want to try to find something else on the tube or do something, because you got boys state basketball and you got college basketball all over the place. So, man, it is what it is right now. So we'll hit that up. No inside the training room with Dr. Crow here this morning. He's on a little vacay, so we'll catch up with him next time. Coming up at about 8:30. So we know the Packers will be making a stop. Eau Claire is the first stop for the Packers tailgate tour. So that is going to benefit the Bolton Refuge House. So we'll be chatting a little bit with Caitlin from Bolton Refuge House and about the Packers tailgate tour. We will be emceeing, or I should say, I'll be co-hosting, co-emceeing the event at the Lismore on April 11th. So if you want to grab your tickets, better do so now before they go out. And I'll just say this might be the first time Mark Murphy talks to anybody. Maybe get his feedback of the whole situation going down in 1265 Lombardi Avenue. But it's a really good lineup. It's a really good lineup. You got Aaron Jones coming, Elton Jenkins, Romeo Dobbs, former alumni. You got Clinton Dix and Eddie Lacy, Devon House. Not a bad lineup at all. So hopefully you're grabbing your tickets and we'll see you there. But we'll get to that chat coming up about 8:30 here this morning. So let's get things rolling here this morning. Coming up on the leadoff, we'll talk a little college hoops to open up things here. Maybe some brackets are already busted out there for those of you who may have had Arizona going a little bit deep. I don't know if anybody had Virginia moving too far within their brackets, but obviously the Arizona one is a big one. So where are you at in the standings? You can, if you are a part of our bracket challenge, you can check it out at our website. It's updated over there. You can type your name in too. If you're not on that first page of the leaderboard, you can type your name in and it'll tell you what place you're in when it pops up. So, but you can go ahead and do that. So let's take that first break, and then coming up on the leadoff here this morning, we'll talk some college hoops, day 2, March Madness, first round continuing here. What kind of upsets will we see today? Will we see any?
good. But Iowa, I was surprised. I didn't think that they could look so pedestrian, so to speak. I thought they were a little better than that.
Mhm.
They looked desperate in the second half. They didn't look like they ever could get a handle on the game. They really didn't. It's almost like they thought they were playing Wisconsin. You know, when teams play Wisconsin, they come out of their normal game plan and get kind of funky when they play Wisconsin. And Iowa just never was in it. They didn't play well at all last night.
Who would you have picked in your Final Four off the top of your head?
In my Final Four, I will pick Alabama. I mean,
Mhm.
when they can win by 20-some points and what's-his-name doesn't score a point.
Yeah,
That's a good
pretty
team.
darn impressive.
That's a pretty good team. And I mentioned a week ago, I think, watch out for Duke. I think Duke is coming on now. These
Mhm.
freshmen who had a rough start, I think they've matured. And I don't have the brackets in front of me, so I don't know who's
So it'd be like Houston and Texas.
Houston I'm going to take.
Yep, and then Kansas.
No, I don't think Kansas is going to
And
get there.
who's the 2 seed for Kansas? I should have it up. So
yeah, and I don't. But I've watched Kansas play 3-4 times, and
UCLA, because I have them in there. So
yeah, I think UCLA will win that division. And then, as I said, Alabama, and I don't know who the fourth one is down there.
Well, it could be Duke, Marquette, Purdue.
Well, it'd be Duke.
Okay.
I hope it's Marquette.
Yeah.
But I don't think Purdue's got enough guard play.
I
would think people are, these coaches aren't stupid.
Yeah.
They scout them, and they, you saw what Purdue did the other night in the championship game of the tournament. At the end of the game, they had the game won, but they were throwing the ball away.
Mhm.
They couldn't even get it in.
Yeah.
And then their guards would get it, and they were absolutely overwhelmed by the other team's guards. So I don't expect Purdue to get very far. They might, but on the current, their guard play has to get a lot better between now and the end of the tournament for them to make it through, I think.
Yeah, I look at that South region where you got Purdue, you got Marquette, then you got Kansas State, you got Tennessee, you got Duke, and then you got Kentucky. That's your top 6.
Yeah, and Marquette and Duke, I'd love to see Marquette make it all the way to the Final Four. And I just think Duke's pretty tough. Kentucky is coming on, but they're so erratic, starting with their coach.
I already kind of mentioned, but I got to give him a shout. Hudson's beating me after day 1 in brackets.
Is he really?
Yep.
Attaboy, Hudson, attaboy. Why? Where'd you make your mistake?
Well, it's only by 1, so it's probably one of those games there. But he's got a completely different championship than I do. He actually... He picked the same exact championship as Jay Billis, and I was like, that sounds really. He has a different winner, but he's on the Duke bandwagon. He picked Duke to win it all.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
I got to give him credit.
Yeah, and
he went Marquette, Duke over UConn was his pick.
Yeah, and I'm not a UConn follower.
I think Jay Billis picked UConn to beat Duke, but Hudson's got Duke winning. So
yeah, and I haven't seen enough of UConn. I hear about them, but I haven't seen enough to really make a decision on what I think about UConn. But I think it's going to be a fun tournament. It always is. It's going to be a fun tournament. And, the cream will rise to the top, as they say. And I don't know who that Cinderella is going to be, but, there's always a 5 or a 6 or an 8 that, surprises 3 or 4 teams. But it should be a fun tournament. Alabama's going to be tough.
You said cream of the crop, so we had a sound clip.
Oh,
that's Macho Man Randy Savage. Look at you, right?
Oh, there you go. We're good buddies, Randy Savage and
I. So I wanted to bring this up because this has been when it comes to Badger basketball, a lot of people have wanted Tony Bennett, as their head coach. Well, Pat Forty, I'm sure you've heard of Pat Forty, writes for Sports Illustrated. He put out an article, and I was thinking about this, but I don't know if I'd go this far. But Pat Forty went after Tony Bennett after that game yesterday in his latest article, even calling the 2019 national title over there because according to Pat Forty, when you look at it, besides that run, you've got, where the year before, first number 1 seed losing to a 16 seed. They've had a lot of early outs, first round outs. They lost, to a 13 seeded team, Ohio. First round upsets, yesterday against Furman. Obviously, we know about the UMBC. I mean, a lot of early exits for Virginia. And he even said that Virginia's what was the phrase that he used here? I'll have to find it, but there was a line that he used. I have the article up here, but I mean, he really went after Tony Bennett and calling that championship a fluke. The 2019 season a fluke, and he kind of went, how that tournament played out. They beat Purdue, in that last second shot, if you remember, I think to get to the Final Four. I was at the Final Four. They looked like they were going to lose to Auburn, but then that foul call where the kid hit the 3 shots at the end, and the Auburn student section was throwing stuff at the officials as they were running off. They beat Texas Tech in OT to win the national championship and such. But do you think that star is souring a little bit on Tony Bennett, or is this a little too harsh, too critical here?
Look at his teams, and they're basic. He plays the Dick Bennett system. He plays his dad's system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Badger system. He just has better players. He recruits better out because he's got better players to recruit from out in the East than we do here in the Midwest. Let's face it, he's got more people, more players out there to recruit from. So it's the same style. But when he gets up against some of these other teams, when they got to score, they can't. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Sounds like the Badgers. So, I've never been a fan of bringing Tony Bennett to Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a good coach, but it's more of the same. You watch that kind of basketball, and it's boring basketball. And the thing is, it gives a lot of teams that maybe not as good as you are a chance to beat you because you never distance yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, and every team once in a while is going to get hot, and they're going to beat you. And that's what happens to him in the tournament. I think. I've never been I've been a fan of Tony Bennett, but not that style. I've never liked the Dick Bennett style. I know some of the high school coaches have incorporated the Dick Bennett style. And the problem is, especially in high school, like when you use the Dick Bennett style and you get some kids all of a sudden that can run, and you're stopping them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be flexible. That system isn't real flexible. And no, I don't think Tony Bennett, I don't think he'd ever want to come to Wisconsin. And I sure wouldn't. I wouldn't beat the drum for him to come here. He's been a good coach. He's been successful. He's won a national title. I don't care how you win it. You got a national title on your resume. These guys can go after him any way they want. But at the end of the day, he's got the national title and you don't.
Mm-hmm. This was some of it, from Pat Forty's column. If not for the fake kiss run in 2019, Virginia under Tony Bennett would be the worst tournament program ever. The evidence keeps piling up. Got the record 6-0 in 2019, 7-8 otherwise. The Cavaliers are serial underachievers, glass-jawed tourney softies. The opponent every double-digit seed wants to see in its bracket on Selection Sunday.
What were their brackets when they lost last night or yesterday?
What
was Virginia seeded?
4.
So that was a 4 and 11?
4 and a 13.
4 and a 13. Oh, yeah, 4 and a 13, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's inexcusable.
Mm-hmm.
That is. I just don't think it is. And, Tony Bennett's going to finish his career at Virginia, or if they let him go, he's going to end up, he came from Washington State. Where he's going to go, I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to leave Virginia. But I wouldn't be beating the drum to bring him to Wisconsin.
You take away that 2019 championship, and I know it's not fair because it's a national championship.
Yeah.
It's really big, but if you do take that away, he's been Virginia in the first round has been bounced out of the first round 3 out of the last 6 years, all by mid-major programs too.
It's can you call him a one-hit wonder? I guess at this point you do. He's got the one hit. Like a lot of musicians, singers, one-hit wonders.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he was out at Washington State, he did well out in the Pac-12 back then, or Pac-10, whatever it was called, when he was out there. But he never took that team very far in the tournament either.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think, this modern day, it's hard to recruit kids to that kind of a system.
That's where
because they grew up playing AAU ball. Even if they play slow down in high school, they play AAU ball all summer, and it's run and shoot, run and gun.
The transition offense, like Brandon was talking about it, you look at Chippewa Falls McDonald, both the girls and boys teams, they're fast-paced transition up and down team. That's modern era basketball, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And he mentioned a lot of the teams at state. He said a few of them still, kind of slowly bring it up, but a lot of them are that faster transition moving ball clubs right now.
And a good coach is going to, adapt to his talent, especially in high. But I mean, I think of the Bo Ryan days with the Frank Kaminsky and the players that they had during that era. I mean, those kids,
that run,
those kids could shoot and score. They didn't win games 50-46. They were scoring some points. And that's how they got there. I mean, I'm trying to think of all the names.
Decker, Nigel Hayes,
Decker,
Bronson,
kid from lacrosse.
Bronson,
Bronson Koenig shoot the lights out.
Gasser,
and you got guys that can shoot the lights out. Let them shoot the lights out.
Yeah,
you don't want to let shooters stand there and pass the ball, swing it, that sort of thing. You swing it for 25 seconds, and then last 5 seconds you're in a panic to finally look at the basket. Kids don't want to play that kind of ball anymore, and fans don't want to watch that kind of ball anymore either.
So I guess I'm curious, when we put those kind of numbers out there for Tony Bennett, for any Badgers fans that are listening, is that still like your dream to bring in a guy like Tony Bennett? Because
I can't imagine.
That's where I'm curious, because it was either him or Shaka Smart. Shaka Smart isn't going to Wisconsin right now.
No, absolutely
that's not happening.
He's on top of the world right now.
Yeah.
Marquette is appreciative of what Shaka Smart has brought in, and the Badgers beat them earlier this year. And look where they're at now.
That's
what happened in the meantime. All of a
sudden,
they
almost beat Kansas too. That's the thing. It's like
Wisconsin had Kansas beat. And so that was probably the game that cost them in the end the tournament. When they lost that game and that last second ricochet rebound to Kansas, because the kid Esigian got caught up as a fan rather than a player. Didn't watch his man. And, was a freshman. It was only his second or third game. He grew up a lot as the year went on. But, I mean, seriously, looking back at it, they beat Kansas.
That probably is a signature win that they would need on their resume.
They're in the tournament.
But now, I was reading Pat's column yesterday, and I'm like, really curious what Badger fans, say Greg Gard gets let go. Who would be number one under? Is it still Tony Bennett, knowing it's not going to be Shaka Smart?
I'd be surprised. I would be surprised. But I won't say it can't happen, but I'd be surprised.
So if anybody wants to chime in, please let us know. Hit me up with a text, 715-830-1912. Or
first off, do you think Gard's going to get let go?
Not this year.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think this year. But I think next year is going to be a very, let's see some waves, some improvement or something like that.
I think
he's got to figure out.
First game of the NIT the other night against Bradley, and people are saying, now that was fun basketball to watch. I don't know what happened, what they fed Crowell, but if that kid can improve, because Tyler Wall, I thought he would be the one that would improve as the year goes along. And now maybe if it is Crowell, and I don't know what the opposition playing against him was, but give the kid credit. He stepped up.
He did 30-some points. I'm just saying, I'm not making the comparison, but I just think it's kind of funny or ironic maybe. Nobody knew who Frank Kaminsky was until he dropped, 40 or 50 points that one day. I was like, who the heck is that guy?
Yeah.
And then 2 years after that, it was like, oh, player of the year. Exactly. I'm not trying to say Stephen Crowell is going to be the next Frank Kaminsky. I was just like, oh, kind of like maybe it takes one game to get that confidence rolling.
But if he can show some improvement, I don't know what I haven't seen the recruiting list he's got for new kids coming in, but you got to find a point guard. Chucky Hepburn is not a point guard. And if you're going to play Jordan Davis, I mean, he should be transferring to lacrosse. He's not a Division I player. And he's got to find, he's got a couple other guys on that team that are playing regular that are questionable. He's got to find, I'm saying 4 or 5 kids that can play. I mean, and step in front of Chucky Hepburn and put Chucky Hepburn as maybe the substitute point guard or something like that. he's got to find some better players.
Mm-hmm.
And if Carl can step up, and I don't know what Tyler Wall is going to do. Is he going to come back? What's he going to work on over the summer to get better, more consistent? Sejian, I think, is going to be a good player, a good shooter. They got some other guys.
Klesmit kind of had a nice end of the run.
Yeah.
They didn't seem like they didn't give him a lot of opportunities right away, and then he came through the transfer portal and such. But
and he still has some room to grow. He still makes some mistakes that he shouldn't make, but there's some core players there. But he has to enhance that roster with 3 or 4 players, I think. And I don't know what he's got for recruits, like I said, coming in.
Yeah, just a lot of these teams, it's 3 recruits for the 2023 class, which is ranked 40th in the country. But anybody's saying, well, only 3. That's kind of, everybody on here is like 2 or 3 at this point.
And that's not the transfer portal.
Nope.
That's just high school kids.
Yep. Weird again, a big man, power forward from Lakeville, Minnesota.
We always rely on Minnesota for the big guys.
Yep. Nolan Winter. They got another center. This kid. So the Nolan Winter kid from Lakeville, Minnesota, 6'10", 190. This Gus, is it Yeldon from Indiana, 6'8", 240 already. He's a 4-star recruit.
Mm-hmm.
And then John Blackwell. Looks like he's a guard, 6'3", 175 from Michigan, 3-star recruit too.
I'd like to see that kid from Lakeville, Minnesota, be kind of like that Chet, whatever his name.
Oh, Chet Holmgren,
that went out to Gonzaga, and then he unfortunately got hurt last summer. Never had a chance to play this year, but handle the ball, could shoot, could play block shots. Maybe you find a kid like that, but he's got to find help. There's no question.
Yeah, transfer
portal. And he's the first one that knows it.
Mm-hmm.
He can't put a team out there again next year like he did this year.
I would agree. So, all right. So we got games starting up later on this morning. We'll see if there's any more bracket busters that'll happen. I know Marquette is at 1:30, 1:35. I think they tip off this afternoon. So we'll see.
Who do they have?
They have, I'm bringing up the UV, is it Vermont, I think?
Oh, Vermont. Is it Catamounts, they call themselves.
Yep.
Whatever a catamount is, I don't know.
So that game is at 1:45, excuse me. So a little bit later on here. But the first game today will be Xavier. Xavier's going to be going up against, is it Kennesaw State?
Now, did Wisconsin beat Xavier this year, or didn't they play him? Seems to me. Okay, maybe they didn't play him, but I know Xavier's been up and down. They've been tough, and then they don't play so well. So
yeah, they didn't. No, not Wisconsin.
I thought maybe they caught him in a tournament, some holiday tournament or something.
Indiana lost to them.
Okay, because Xavier can be tough over the years,
especially when Bill Murray's in the stands. That's
a
little bit of a joke there. If you remember the Bronson corner 3 there, so. Then they got Baylor on there coming up right after that.
Boy, now there's an up and down team, and if that team gets hot in a tournament, because they've had a season that I didn't expect. They started out well, and then just really kind of tailed off. Now I don't know if their coach can jack them up again or not. I don't know, but it wasn't too long ago they won the national title.
Yeah. The UConn game is kind of interesting. I know UConn is like a popular pick for a lot of people, but they're going up against Iona with Rick Pitino. So I guess I never say never with Rick Pitino. And
when it's a tournament.
Yeah. And he sounds like he's going to be going to the last that I heard from a few days ago is going to be going to St. John's now, Rick Pitino. So moving back up.
I wonder who's going to get the Georgetown job since they let
somebody said Rick Pitino would walk to Georgetown for that job, but it doesn't sound like Georgetown's going
to give it to him.
Going to give it to him.
Boy, he's a Catholic kid from Boston, so he's out east at all those Catholic colleges. You think somebody would want him,
but
he's had some problems, of course.
Yep.
Where's his kid now? They used to coach at
Florida, I think.
They used to coach at
somewhere,
Minnesota.
not Florida Gators, but somewhere in Florida, or maybe not Florida. That's where he came from. He is, that's right, New Mexico.
Oh, okay.
He's at New Mexico. So, but I was just reading a little bit here, the latest. St. John's Providence, maybe Texas Tech.
Providence, he was at Providence years ago, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Started out kind of as a young Providence coach.
Yeah.
I think he took him to the Final Four. I mean, he really got a lot of notoriety 1 year, 2 years for what he did in the tournament.
Yeah. So this is just according to the Athletic over there. So I don't know, but it sure seemed like the other day it was like St. John's is the leading person. But, for all the issues he's had with his programs, you can't deny the guy does know how to win college basketball games.
Yes, he does. It was funny when his kid was coaching Minnesota. Where were they in the
NIT championship?
And he kept looking behind the bench at his dad. His dad shake his head yes or no.
Kinda
coaching his kid from the sidelines.
Hey, maybe Wisconsin fans want Rick Pitino to coach their ball club. But
be fun basketball.
It might not be all on the up and up, but they rack up some W's. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Except for when he's in Boston.
I think he's learned his lesson.
Except for when he's coaching the NBA and the Celtics.
Well, that's right. Well, that was a lot of coaches. Calipari didn't work out in the pros. Nick Saban in football didn't work out in the pros. The old ball coach didn't work out with Washington. College and pros are a lot. College, well, they're both a business, but
not everybody can be a Jimmy Johnson.
No, that's for sure.
There's few and far between.
Yep.
So, all right, we got to take a quick break, and then we'll wrap up the first hour here. We'll be back after these quick words. Since you're busy playing solitary, I Googled catamount for you.
What is it?
Cougar. Mountain lion sort of thing.
Oh, it is? Okay, I didn't know
cat.
that. Didn't know that.
Sort of thing. So, there you go. Vermont Cougars.
Good. And I got to be out of town tonight, which is disappointing. I didn't even think the Globetrotters were still in existence, and they're going to be in town tonight. So I'm going to miss them, darn it. I love to
Going to Madison?
Yep, going to Madison. I might take in some tournament games and got to help some people move, but hopefully I'll have some time to go to a tournament. Hopefully McDonald will win later on. I can go to the championship game Saturday.
Going to go to the Badger Hoops game Sunday?
I might.
11 a.m. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of tickets available. Yeah.
And they're not, I read, they only about $25 or something like that. Yeah.
And the kids are all be coming back from spring break, so I doubt that'll be the first thing they probably do.
No, I don't think so. I might do that. That'd be a good idea. 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock going up against Liberty. So Cole Center will be
where's Liberty from?
Be pretty active these next few days. Liberty University is in Virginia.
Okay. Oh, that's the what's his name? Guy that was a political guy for so long. What the guy, I don't remember his name, that ran or started Liberty University.
Oh, who started Liberty University?
Yeah, because he was kind of he was a minister and he got very political and, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, Liberty University. All right. Well, maybe do that. Thanks for reminding me.
Jerry Falwell.
Jerry Falwell.
Yep,
Jerry Falwell. Yep.
Okay. So just thank you, Wikipedia.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So we just have a few minutes to the top of the hour here. So don't forget, we'll be over at Hy-Vee from about, well, you can go there at 11. That's when everything starts. I'll be there from about 12 to 2.
G-Man will be there at 10. He'll have his assortment of Aaron Rodgers jerseys on display for sale, probably, huh?
I don't know if he'll sell those. I don't know if he'll do that. But
I
will be curious, G-Man, are you going to buy a Jordan Love jersey now?
That'll be interesting.
Or
all the rest of them.
Do you wait? Do you give it a little bit of a, kind of grace period?
Yeah. I'll tell you this right now with the Aaron Rodgers situation and on the sports, these talking heads, they're falling all over themselves to tell, Diane Rossini report, Schefter will say, I heard from Diane Rossini has just tweeted out this, that, and what sort of tweet out until it's over? I mean, everybody knows that, this is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that would be a major story is if they couldn't work out the compensation and somehow the deal falls through.
Mm-hmm.
Then you feel sorry for a guy like Alan Lazard, who signed up to play for the Jets now. And if he doesn't have I can't imagine it's got to be 90-10 that it's going to go.
Yeah.
But still in all, it's just these guys, it's just ridiculous what these guys are doing on TV now between Schefter and Diana Rossini and some of these other ones that are supposedly on their phones as much as they do. They breathe as much as they're on their phone type of thing.
Yeah.
And, who cares, people? Who cares? Everybody knows it's going to happen. Who cares whether it's 10 o'clock this morning or 5 o'clock this afternoon?
It's all about being first, right?
But everybody knows it's happening, so it's not like, oh, it's over. Oh boy, now I can go about my daily business. I mean, I don't think anybody has changed their schedule waiting for the Aaron Rodgers story to finish.
No. Speaking of that, I should mention too that NFL insider Peter King is going to be hopping on with us on Monday morning.
Oh, good.
The one thing I know the other day he said too, he was asked by Dan Patrick, what do you think compensation will be? And he thought, and this is going to upset Packers fans, but he thought it would be a second round pick this year. And if Aaron plays another year, it would be not a 2024, a 2025 first round pick.
Yeah. And remember last week, my receiver defer was, do you think Packer fans are going to be surprised at the compensation for Aaron Rodgers? I don't think it's going to be much either.
Yeah. So, and the one thing I want to ask Peter, because he's in New York, what's it going to be like media coverage that Aaron's going to have to adjust to quite a bit over there? So.
Adjust, I think, is the right word, because he can't crawl in a dark hole for 4 days.
Right.
These people it's not just his football life, it's everything he does.
Yeah.
And that's a difference. He thinks he's king of the world. You've been in Green Bay for 18 years dealing with the media.
Yeah.
You go to New York. We've talked about this before. All the athletes that have gone to New York, especially with the Yankees, but that New York media shows no mercy.
Mm-hmm.
You got to perform when you go to New York. I mean, they don't give you a chance to play 4 or 5 games and say relax.
And I was
you got to be there right now.
Last in one of my conversations with Peter, he said, going to ask him if he's having deja vu. He was with Favre in Favre's kitchen when Favre decided to come back. And I'm like 15 years later, do you think this was going to happen again? With the whole situation sort of thing. So that should be a good combo.
He wasn't going to retire. That was not even on the table.
Right. All right. We'll be back after these quick news updates. All right, second hour kicking off on this Friday morning. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you're all off to a fantastic and wonderful start on this St. Patrick's Day. Maybe some of you taking the day off and going to be celebrating there a little bit, whether it is for St. Patrick's Day or because of some hoops, some basketball going on too. So,
did you read the article about this being one of the busiest weeks for doctors for dealing with men?
Vasectomies?
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Rest for 3 days. Good,
Yep.
Good weekend to do it.
Grab a frozen bag of peas, everybody.
Oh, there you go.
G-Man did say he's going to buy that jersey. I want to know if G-Man's going to be coming because, 8:30, we're going to be chatting with Caitlin from Bolton Refuge because they are the organization that is benefiting from the Packers tailgate tour that's making the stop in Eau Claire. We'll be hosting and emceeing it over there at the Lismore. So, as I've been telling people, you want to get your tickets because this might be the first time Mark Murphy talks to anybody and we get to talk to him and ask the questions. So hard-hitting questions, man.
Well, that'll be nice if we could ask the questions.
Yeah. But it's a great group, too. Aaron Jones is going to be there.
Good.
Elton Jenkins, Romeo Dobbs,
so not retired players.
Well, then there's 3 alumni, but they're fairly new. Clinton Dix, Eddie Lacy, and then Devon House. So... But they're going to have an auction for some autographed memorabilia and stuff. So I don't know if G-Man's going to show up and get all that stuff there too or what. But April 11th at the Lismore. So
he's got to remember he's retired now.
He's I think enjoying retirement too.
Good for him.
Yep, definitely. All right, let's do some sports nuggets of the day. Brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1940 for the first time in NHL history. One line finished 1-2-3 in NHL scoring. That happened with Boston. And let's go with 1998. The United States beat Canada 3-1 to win the first gold medal for women's hockey.
Wasn't Mark Johnson the coach of that team?
I'll have to double check that. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. Let's go 2005. Several Major League Baseball players spoke about steroid use with the House Government Reform Committee. Mark McGuire, Jose Canseco, Sammy Sosa, and I did not use steroids, period. Rafael Palmeiro. So everybody can picture that, right?
Yeah.
That whole thing. Sammy Sosa forgot.
Yeah, it's an era that's a shame because I think there was a lot of talent there. I mean, Palmeiro and Will Clark when they were at Mississippi State, but I mean, just a lot of baseball talent, but they fell victim to numbers and turn it into money.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shame because they all had the talent to be in the Hall of Fame, and I don't think any of them are going to ever see the Hall of Fame because of that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's all I got for some sports nuggets of the day. Yeah, that's it. So those are your sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Ansay Associates. We've got Brewers baseball. We got a couple games that will be today and tomorrow. Today's game you're going to be able to hear on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. But now officially under 2 weeks left until opening day on March 30th. So under 2 weeks, and then hopefully the weather will cooperate in Chicago so they can actually have semi-decent weather there and just get the game in. But World Baseball Classic starting to wrap up too. I know Mets fans are pretty down today. Their closer, Edwin Diaz, is out for the year, tore his patellar tendon at the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, boy. I know they just hold their breath when those guys go to play in some of those tournaments or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
he just signed that massive deal over there, too. But if there's one team that is probably going to make a move to kind of replace that, I think Mets would be one of those teams that will be looking somewhere, possibly.
They might, San Diego's got so much money involved in contracts. They might go after a guy like Josh Hader.
Yeah, kind of depends on maybe how their season goes. Yeah, just
him, and they could get, Diego or whatever the case may be. They always seem to find a way to get those players in.
And it was. I don't know if you saw how it happened, but it happened while he was celebrating.
Oh boy!
So that's the because it appeared that he injured his knee while he was celebrating, with his Puerto Rico teammates following their victory over the Dominican Republic. And it was a game that he had to save in that game too. And it's just
Now there are other famous players, and I can't think off the top of my head who they are, that got hurt in celebration.
Martin Gramatica, the kicker, remember him?
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
jumping up and down and tore his ACL. I think there was the Detroit linebacker. Is it Stephen Tulloch?
There's a bunch of
He
them.
did the jump up. It was because it was against the Packers. He did the belt, but he did it like jumping up, and he landed and tore his knee up.
Yep.
You know, stuff like that. But
kids will be kids.
That's the weird thing too, with like ACLs and all that stuff. I remember when I was in college, one of the classes I had, our teachers mentioned, I think it was him when he was playing a basketball game or reffing it. He was just backpedaling, blew his ACL out.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, just minor stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's nuts. But you feel for a guy like, I mean, Edwin Diaz, they're celebrating a win, World Baseball Classic, which is big for a lot of those players. And now he's out for the whole year.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is. I mean, unfortunately it happens, but boy, that's an expensive loss for the Mets.
Mm-hmm. Tough pill to swallow, no doubt about it. So, hoops wise, we only got 12 more games left in the regular season for the Bucks. That's it, 12. And they lost last night to the Pacers. Bucks didn't have two of their starters, Brooke Lopez and Grayson Allen.
And at this point in time, I don't want to say the Bucks are treading water, but all these other teams like Indiana, they're giving you everything they got.
Yeah, they're trying to get into that last play-in spot.
And there's no sense of urgency, I don't think, for the Bucks, but for a team like Indiana, yeah. So you can understand how some of those things can happen like that.
Holding on to that first place spot right now in the Eastern Conference, still 2 games up on Boston. Milwaukee, best record in the entire NBA. The only team with 50 wins so far here, but you look at it, and this will be a perfect timing too, because they get a couple days off here. No game today or tomorrow. Then they got Toronto on Sunday. Then they get another 2 days off here. So these injuries don't sound like they're a major concern or anything like that, but perfect timing too, just to kind of make sure the 2 things I just want to make sure before the postseason, you're healthy and get the 1 seed. Those are the top 2.
Lopez, is it a back problem again, or has he got something else? Because
no, it's not a back. I think
that's what he was out for so long with last year.
Yeah, I think he kind of twisted his ankle, so he's day to day. So, and Crowder was out too. So I mean, you're missing some big time contributors to your team, and Giannis being in foul trouble too obviously affected the game there a little bit. But it was that second half surge from Indiana that really propelled them, and Bucks couldn't just slow it down. Indiana shot 48% from 3. That's a tough exactly. So, and you had a couple former Bucks players on there that were probably playing with a little chip on their shoulder. George Hill and Jordan Nora, who were part of trade packages, and they both had solid nights.
George Hill is still in the league, huh?
Yeah,
he's getting some age on him.
Yeah. So they had themselves some decent games last night. So, but yeah, I mean, you're looking at it. Bucks are the only 50-win team so far in the NBA. Best record in the NBA. They were the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the NBA. Everything's kind of trending upwards. Injuries don't seem like they're a big concern at this point. So, feeling pretty. In Sacramento, how about this? Sacramento, for the first time with their win last night, have guaranteed themselves a winning record, or at least a 500 record, for the first time in like 16 years.
Yeah, Sacramento's been ever since Chris Webber, the kid out of Michigan, was out there and got him well into the playoffs. Ever since he's left Sacramento years ago, it's been a desert out there to try and find a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The Maloof brothers sold the team, and
Vlade Divac running it right now.
Yeah. So,
but give them credit. They're
well, they drafted that kid from Iowa, the other twin, and he's playing good, solid ball. He's a rookie that's really contributing. I don't think he's ever going to be a superstar, but I think he's going to be a really good long-term player, make himself a lot of money, and they got some other dependable players out there. And
De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis,
yeah.
Harrison Barnes is still doing his thing over there too. So
they got a nice team.
Got to give, and then Mike Brown, if he doesn't get Coach of the Year, that's a shame, in my opinion.
I think he's got it wired.
He's got to get that Coach of the Year. I know some people talk about Boston because, with their offseason, new coach in charge, but we all figured Boston was going to be a good team anyways. nobody expected Sacramento to be the 2 seed right now in the Western Conference.
No, it's kind of like Kyrie Irving said, do we need a coach?
Mhm.
Boston's one of those teams that had just, you look at Marcus Smart and Tatum and Brown, those guys on that team. How much do they need a coach?
Mhm.
Really and truly, when you think of the coach of the year versus what Mike Brown is doing out in Sacramento.
You know what I just saw this morning? I didn't realize this. I'll have to double check it, but when I was skimming through some stuff, Kevin Durant, ever since leaving Golden State, has never played in Golden State. Something's always come up.
Usually an injury.
And I saw that and I read it because I think it was a quote from Steve Kerr. Like, they've always had like a video thing prepared for Kevin Durant. And that's been since 2019.
They've never used it.
They've never used it because he's never played in front of the Golden State fans.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
I didn't realize that either.
I know he hasn't played a lot.
So I'm like, dang, is that by purpose? Or, you know what I
Oh.
mean? I don't know. But I saw that when I was scrolling through some stuff this morning, and I'm like, wow, that's really.
I don't think people also realize Kevin Durant's up there. He's about 35 years old now, isn't he?
Well, remember, he was drafted by Seattle Sonics.
Yeah, that's right. He played his first year out in Seattle before they went to OKC.
Remember who the first pick was in that draft? Trivia question time. He was the second overall pick.
I do. Was it Oden from Ohio State?
Yep.
Greg Oden, and he was. It's so kumbaya of what happened with the Bulls and Portland when they took Sam Bowie, and Chicago took Michael Jordan with the next pick.
Mm-hmm.
What a difference, because both of them, Bowie played longer than Oden, but both had foot problems, leg problems coming out of college. But at that time, big was in.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody wanted to draft the big guy. And, of course, Olajuwon was number 1 that year, I believe, wasn't he?
Yep.
And
great player.
Jordan was number 3. Oden was 1, Durant was number 2. And it just shows you how the game has changed, that the big guys now, like they say, well, is Edey from Purdue coming out? Well, if he does, where is he going to get drafted? Who wants a guy like that anymore?
Mm-hmm.
You really don't.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at some. I love this history sort of stuff, but yeah, it's nuts. Kind of. Here's the Steve Kerr quote. This was actually from Monday, so I wasn't making this up. It's nuts, Kerr told reporters. It is insane. It's been a while. It's been how many years? 4 years. This is the 4th year, and we've always kind of anticipated his return. We've always had a planned welcome back video to thank him for everything he did for this franchise, and then literally every game something comes up. I never would have guessed that.
No, I didn't realize that either. I know he's been hurt more than he's played, but when he plays, he's a difference maker. There's no question about it. It's like he can come in and, you could trade for him tomorrow, put him on the floor tonight, and he'd score 30 points and help your team. It's not like he'd be a detriment to your team because he doesn't know your offense, or he doesn't know this, he doesn't know that. Kevin Durant is going to help your team, but he's got limited shelf life left now because he's getting up there. Like LeBron. LeBron is a long way from the player he used to be. There's no guarantee you can put a uniform on LeBron, your team's going to be a winner, as we've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, KD will be 35 in September.
Yeah, he's getting up there.
And, I'm not trying to knock LeBron or anything like that, but I think what does help him, too, is that he is so physical.
LeBron,
he's big. I mean, he's in shape big. It's.
And I wonder what the workout regimen is for LeBron versus Kevin Durant. I mean, Kevin Durant is never going to have that kind of a body.
That frame, no.
He's 7 feet, and he's, tall and lanky and lithe and different player than LeBron. But I don't know diet, workout schedule, type of exercises, what they both do. It'd be interesting to see.
I saw this the other day, and this was old too, but since we were just talking about LeBron here, I saw, Chauncey Billups said this a couple of years ago. Grant Hill was the first LeBron James. Would you buy that? And I'm thinking he was assuming that the point forward type of thing.
Yeah.
Grant not as big as
Oh,
LeBron.
not even close.
You know?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah, he said, I'm talking context, straight triple-double and dominating the game playing defense. The dude did everything. Nobody did that before that.
He
Grant
sure
Hill
doesn't get recognition as one of the great players. Grant Hill
No.
was never in anybody's conversation about that.
And that's where
But
I feel
he was
like
very
it's the
good.
injuries.
Yeah, yeah,
That to me, Grant Hill is a big what if. Like if he would have stayed healthy.
yeah. That's a good point.
Like
Yeah,
what
I
if
think you too, because he was great at Duke, and he did do some acrobatic type things on the floor that a lot of other guys can't do or couldn't do, and still to this day, you can, everybody can run down and slam dunk, but some of the things that Grant Hill could do, I could see that, but I guess I wouldn't put him in that category. I wouldn't relate it to him like that.
You just that ankle injury
Yeah,
that he suffered and just could not get over. When he signed that contract with Orlando, I was an Orlando fan, so I was just geeked up. Hey, we got Grant Hill, we got Trace McGrady. We thought we were going to get Tim Duncan that summer too, but it just couldn't get over that ankle injury. But yeah, Grant Hill always to me was like a what if type of player. Like if he would have just stayed healthy through the prime of his career. I mean, we're talking he was 28, 29, 30 years old when he was going through that ankle injury. That's the prime of your career right there.
Yeah, it really was, and it was too bad because he was a great player. He had all the talent. He could do so many things, as we saw it first of all at Duke, of course. But I guess I have a little trouble putting him in the LeBron James category. I mean, I put him in there as probably pure talent wise. Yeah, he was very, very good, right up there with some of the all time greats. I wouldn't ever take that away from him, but I don't know. LeBron, that's a jump.
Yeah, that's like I don't know how I saw it, but I was scrolling through some stuff. I think it was yesterday, and I'm like, and I couldn't remember who it was, but I just Googled it now, and it looks like it was Chauncey Billups that said that. So I'm like,
yeah, he had more finesse than LeBron's power. And I don't think you can compare the two.
No,
powerful wise. And LeBron can do some of these things. Well, that's just because he runs over people a lot of times.
Yeah.
Grant Hill never did that. Grant Hill had more finesse.
Yep.
He can fly.
And that same thing. Grant Hill was actually talking, and it was when Jordan was with the Wizards, and it was like one of the last times Grant Hill wanted to make sure he was going to play that game, and he wanted to guard Jordan because it was going to be the last time. He said Jordan put up like 20 in the first quarter, first half. I think it was first quarter or something like that. This is the Wizards Jordan. Grant Hill said he checked himself out and just walked straight to the locker room after that. He's like, I can't do it. Can't do it. So speaking of Jordan, did you see he's selling the Hornets?
Oh, he is? No.
Yeah. He's going to be selling his majority stake, or at least it's up for sale. He's looking for buyers for that thing. So
he's had enough, frustrated with it. And I can see why. A guy that demanded and got so much out of himself as a player has to be frustrated that he can't translate that into the players that are playing for his team. I mean, he just has to be frustrated with that. And I don't know, maybe like Green Bay as far as attracting free agents, it's just not attractive. I don't know. But he hasn't had the success I'm sure he thought he should have.
Which is weird because...
And I don't know about the support he's had down there. He's from North Carolina. But I don't know if how much local support he's had for that team.
And that's what I was going to say, which is weird because, I mean, you think Carolina basketball, that Duke, North Carolina and all that, but...
Oh, North Carolina State. I mean, UNC Greensboro. I mean, there's so many major college teams down there. Winston-Salem. I mean, it's just unbelievable that that team hasn't been better. But since he's been the major owner, they haven't done anything. I don't know how many times they made the playoffs, if at all.
I don't know what... I saw some of the numbers. It says here on ESPN he paid $275 million for a majority stake in 2010. I did see one number earlier that it's now valued at like $1.7 billion for his majority stake. So
I don't know where the value comes from.
I think it's just everything's gone up these.
Well, I realize that
so.
for TV revenue and things like that, but $1.7 billion to buy the Charlotte Hornets. I'm not sure there are some people with that kind of money that are egotistical enough to want to be part of that club. But Well, that's not the team that I would be looking at. And
But
Charlotte's a beautiful city. I mean, it's a wonderful area.
I don't know what Jordan will do after that. I know he's involved in NASCAR right now, but I don't know what would
But
be
that's
next
not where
for Jordan.
he hangs his
He's
hat.
got to be something in basketball. Start his own league with the Jordan logo.
I don't know.
But I don't know. It'll be weird, like, because with the NBA, you always kind of knew Jordan was still there. You know, like he was still there because he was with the Hornets. But if he's not going to be around, I don't know what he's going to do. Play a lot of golf.
He would love to get involved with the Bulls.
You think
but
so?
That ownership, because Krause obviously is long gone. I think Krause has passed away. But
Reinsdorf is still there, I think.
Reinsdorf family is still there. So I don't know if that's a possibility or what the relationship is between Jordan and the Reinsdorf. But what a shot in the arm to bring Michael Jordan back to the Bulls.
That would be a big time one there.
Oh, absolutely.
Or is he getting involved in a little baseball? I don't know if there's a team. Hey, maybe he can use some of that funds to pitch in for the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, I don't know if he has any interest in football or not.
I don't know.
I'm surprised that's not finished a long time ago either, the way they came down so hard on Schneider a few months ago.
Well, apparently he's
kind of behind. That's, not anything behind the curtain now. I haven't heard much lately.
Apparently he's trying to well, there was something the other day. Apparently Snyder said something to the owners that he's gotten some offers that will blow away the owners or something like that. He could be talking out of his what anyways. But then there was a report that he was trying to make it so like the Amazon guy, Jeff Bezos, was going to buy it, but then Dan Snyder didn't want him to buy it. So he was trying to make it so he couldn't buy it. It all over the place.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the other owners have the right of refusal to accept?
Yeah, they have to approve ownership in that. So,
and I've heard from other sources that other owners don't want Bezos in their club, so to speak.
It is a country club, that's for sure.
Oh,
when it comes to the NFL ownership.
Yeah.
And
Bezos probably got more money than all the rest of them put together.
Hey, I'm just saying we should all pool up. All Packers stockholders should pool up and actually see how much we've invested in this team with all of our stocks. How much have we actually thrown? I know they got the numbers out there, how much we've raised in that, but let's cash in here.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Right.
Good luck with that. That's never going to happen. They'll plow that money back into more Packer City or whatever that park is that they've got over there and things like that. But I'd like to see them plow it into. I know the salary cap. I'd like to see them plow some of that money into talent.
Well, that's what we're going to be bringing up here next. So we're going to take a quick break, and Robert Tunyon's not coming back. He's going to the Bears. Alan Lazard's going to the Jets, Packers, and I'm not trying to make this a negative. They did sign a long snapper the other day for 2 or 3 year deal, so they got that taken care of.
They're in the Super Bowl. Now, you got a long snapper, you're going to the Super Bowl. That's a high priority.
Long snappers are important.
Well, I know they're important, but they're sure not the headline.
So with kind of everything that's been moving around this week with NFL free agency and such, if you had to adjust your biggest needs for the Packers, what would it be right now? We'll kind of take a look at that and dissect and digest. Join the convo with us. Hit us up with some text, 715-830-1912. Hey, West Siders of Eau Claire, got something cool going on over at West Side Bar and Grill, March Madness special, partnering up with Mike Star Markets and West Side Bar and Grill. But going on right now, you can get for $6 a Mike's Star Market Man Cave Light brat and a Man Cave Light pint for just $6. $6 for that combo. Man Cave Light now on tap over on the west side of Eau Claire at West Side Bar and Grill, and they've got the brats, the Man Cave Light brats over there too. So a little March Madness special going on over there if you're on the west side. Go and check it out. And if you take your receipt over to Mike's Star Market, you just literally walk across the back street there, you get $1 off a package of Man Cave Light brats too. So good deal over there. Big thanks to Mike's Star Market and West Side Bar and Grill. A lot of cool stuff taking over right now. Man, I didn't realize we were already flying on through this morning. So Packers, no Robert Tunyon's coming back. He's going to the Bears, going even closer to home. He is from Illinois. We know Alan Lazard's with the Jets. We know about the quarterback situation. So given how everything's kind of gone through these last few days here, if you had to adjust the need, if you had to adjust the need of what the Packers have to address, I guess is maybe the best way to say it so far. What would you say is your still your biggest need? Like, we knew that they were going to get a tight end, or they needed a tight end, but now the fact that Tunyon's, we know, is officially not coming back. All they have on their roster is Josiah DeGuara, who's kind of like an H-back tight end. Tyler Davis resigned, but he's more for special teams, that sort of thing. I would have to imagine tight end probably moves up a little bit more on the list. Alan Lazard isn't coming back. So, I mean, do you value a veteran wide receiver now? Or do you like, no, let's just get some younger talent in the draft and, go about it that way? Safety, I mean, reports are saying that the Packers have hosted Tarvarius Moore from the 49ers. Nothing has become official that Tarvarius Moore from the 49ers spent the last few years playing with the 49ers. But other than that, you're not really hearing a whole lot. How much do you think they need a veteran backup quarterback for Jordan Love? Or do they go, remember in 2008 when Rodgers got the starting job, they didn't have a veteran quarterback. They drafted Brian Brom in the second round and Matt Flynn in the seventh. And, well, Brian Brom didn't even make the team as a second round pick. And Matt Flynn, not bad for a backup there. But nonetheless, what do you think is the biggest need right now for Green Bay, priority-wise?
Well, my receiver defer is one of them. The receiver defer, the Packers will underperform in both free agency and the draft. They need a lot. I mean, let's face it. I mean, Rodgers is leaving, putting a big hole, but Lazard gone. Tunyon, I don't think our tight end position has been strong for a long time. But I just think there's so many holes that this team needs to fill. Because of the quarterback situation, where I don't think the quarterback, and last year he didn't play that well anyway, but I don't think the quarterback position going forward this year is going to win a lot of games.
We got Bloomer Tony here. Through Morning Dan, through an accumulation of information, I've discovered that the Packers need number 1, safety, number 2, tight end, number 3, wide receiver, number 4, outside linebacker, number 5, defensive line. Sam saying everything. They need depth at every position, well, except kicker, punter, and long snapper. Well, Jeff is going a little bit of a different way. Call me crazy, but a kicker might be essential. Might need a stronger leg than Crosby. Well, remember, they don't even have Crosby. He's a free agent too. So got to remember, he's not even on the ball club right now.
Who would ever say we're sitting here thinking that maybe our kickoff return team is the strongest unit on the team?
Keyshawn Nixon, baby.
There you go. Maybe that's the strongest unit on the whole team. Well, a special team for the Packers. When did you think you'd say that?
Who needs a kicker when we're going to go for 2 points every time? Right?
Right.
Just have the punter do the kickoff.
Right on.
Onside kicks, if this new rule passes where no onside kicks, it's 4th and 15 or 4th and 20, we'll go for it every time. Right?
No onside kicks.
They're trying to. It's, if you watch like the XFL, that's kind of their thing.
Yeah.
They're experimenting with that, and the NFL. Some teams have proposed that to add that as,
I haven't
as a new
watched
rule.
that. I haven't watched that. So.
Yeah, it would be no onside kicks a team if they wanted to. That you could do the kickoff, or if you were going to do an onside kick instead, you would do like 4th and 15 If you convert it, you keep the ball. If you don't, other team gets it.
I'm not sure they tweaked the rules too much.
I kind of wish that would have been in place for the 2015 NFC Championship game. Although, who knows if they would have still stopped that.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know. They start tweaking the rules and too much, and I think they're going to find some negativity among the fans, more negativity than we have now for some of the rules. But I just think the Packers have a major hill to climb to put together a competitive roster for this year.
And I know we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I'll ask him again on kind of Monday, but when Peter King is joining us on Monday, but he was on Dan Patrick, the Dan Patrick Show the other day, and he was asked, type of compensation, like a realistic type of compensation for Aaron Rodgers. I'll play the clip here if it's going to load properly here.
Aaron Rodgers has asked him to lose his number.
That's the thing is, I think with like Peter, he's not the Schefters or the Ians, that sort of thing.
He's a factual reporter,
and he still writes a column, sort of thing. So he's a little more. But this was Peter's response. Audio courtesy Dan Patrick Show. If it's gonna load, come on.
What?
There we go. So that's just from.
I don't agree with that at all. The Jets want Aaron Rodgers. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers. You want Aaron Rodgers? We're not going to give him to you to see that he performs okay for you as a Jet. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history. He's still a top quarterback.
It's not how well he plays.
No, if he plays, I realize that. Yes. But that's not the Packers' problem.
No.
That's the Jets' problem, to put a good enough team around him so he's going to want to play. Unless something physically happens, he's still going to be able to play. I think the Packers take that compensation he just talked about. I think we're getting shafted, and Gutekunst is getting taken through the coals. I don't agree with that at all.
So, earlier you did say you didn't think Green Bay was going to get as much as people are hoping.
Yeah, exactly.
You think second round pick is even worse than you thought?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Well, I thought they'd get a first round pick for him.
Okay. Number 13 overall?
Yeah. If Woody Johnson's going to take
that's why a lot of
his people to California to talk to him.
That's why, and it's a debate that's going on right now. I know you're a big Twitter guy, so you probably have seen this. But it's a big debate that's going on right now that who has the most leverage in this situation? Green Bay or the Jets? Who do you think has the most leverage?
Tell you the truth, I think Green Bay does.
That's where the majority's going.
Yeah, I think Green Bay does. And if Gutekunst gives in to the Jets and takes that compensation that Peter King just talked about, I think it's logical. I think he's probably right on with his assumptions, but I don't agree with his assumptions, and I hope Gutekunst doesn't either, because if he agrees to that, and literally gives Aaron Rodgers away for a second-round draft choice. I mean, because look at Gutekunst, who he drafts. He doesn't get his first-round draft choices on the field, let alone second.
This is going to be it's a game of chicken at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Who's going to blink first? Green Bay literally can hold on to him if they wanted to, but then, the longer you get to it, it's all about that bonus thing. Green Bay, I think it starts today. From now until week 1, you have to pick up that bonus for Aaron Rodgers. That's where he's getting all of his moolah from. But you don't have to pick it up now. You can pick it, and that's how it's structured that way. And that was actually a good thing on Green Bay's part, if you think about it. But Green Bay can hold on to him, and they can, ask, even Aaron acknowledged it in his Pat McAfee show. He's like, Green Bay's digging their heels in on compensation right now, which they should.
I heard him say that. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%.
Which they should. The only thing is, if it does get a little bit longer into the tooth and we get to, let's say, God forbid, July, and we're still talking about this, or August, and we're still talking about this, you feel for a guy like Jordan Love. You don't want it to turn into an 08 situation where Rodgers, was getting booed at family night. And I don't think that'll be the case for Love. I don't think Love will get booed.
Oh, I don't think he doesn't deserve that at all.
The only thing is that he's going to get peppered and have to answer questions for that, which he shouldn't have to. He shouldn't have to. And
all the questions he should answer are on his performance.
Right, exactly. So I think it's going to be to the point who's going to get more pressure to make the deal. Jets fans now, they've heard Aaron Rodgers say that he's planning on playing for them. They're getting anxious. They want to get this thing done, sort of thing. So it's who's going to blink first. And right now, I think, I would agree. I think Packers have a little bit more of that leverage. And I think the other part in this whole thing, too, is how desperate does Woody Johnson get here? And does he just say, screw it, let's just get this thing done and give them what they want or something like that?
Well, that's why I don't think Peter King, and he's every day, this is all he does. So he's much more attuned to this than I am. But just sitting here, I agree. I think Woody Johnson is on the hot seat because he's committed himself to Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. He's traded for Lazard. He's, getting these. Randall Cobb's probably going that way too. And all of a sudden, if he can't produce Aaron Rodgers, who are you going to produce at quarterback?
Yeah, there's nobody left.
No, there's nobody left. And so I think too, the Packers, Gutekunst, I hope he can see that. And again, we're not on the inside, but from sitting here, you got to think the Packers are in the catbird seat on this thing. You're not going to hold them up, but I would be very dissatisfied with a 2.
Maybe Aaron's secretly saying, "Hey, take your time, so I don't have to show up for off-season work."
Maybe. I already know Alan Lazard. And Randall Cobb. If he comes, I already know those guys.
You know what's funny is that we have said for how long, surround Aaron with talent, get him more receivers than that. And yet here he is. He wants to just play with the same guys. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Marseille Lewis.
And I heard the other day when he was talking about, Lazard and Cobby and OBJ.
Yeah.
Takes me back to when Brett Favre says
Randy
Moss. He goes to New England. Mm-hmm. They have an undefeated season, should have won the Super Bowl outside of a fluke catch. And I think that cost the Packers a Super Bowl. But this conservative front office that the Packers have continually had, the only reason they've been able to get away with it is because of Favre and Rodgers at quarterback have erased so many of their sins. And now that's not going to be the case. And I think this is good. If they take a second, I think it's just another sin to chalk up on the board for the Packer front office. Mm-hmm. I really think a second-round draft choice would be fleecing the Packers. Even if there's a number 1 in 2025. But that's conditional.
Somebody asked, what did they get for Favre? Well, that was, I believe it was first a 4th rounder, and then that was based off a lot of conditions. Green Bay ended up with a 3rd round pick that year. So for Favre. Actually, too, when you think about Favre was younger, I think. But Favre was more flaky, let's be real.
Yeah.
So a little bit more flaky. So, but no, it'll be I don't feel like this is going to end anytime soon. Like, and after Rodgers made that appearance, like, I watched it a second time, and I came away with some different thoughts and feelings after watching his thing a second time than I initially did the first time. But and I spelled that out the other day on the pod, so you can rehash that if you want. But at first it's like you're like, oh, he's kind of going after the front office and that sort of thing. But then it's like, actually, he kind of did the front office a favor by putting the pressure now on the Jets to make this thing happen. Like, yeah, Packers are digging their heels in. I plan on playing for the Jets, and now everybody's like, I mean, for crying out loud, even the Jets Twitter account was getting in on this thing. Now New York's just waiting. You got a fan base that's waiting to rename Wall Street Rogers Plaza or some crap like that. So, they're desperate.
Yeah, they are. They are, and that's another example of the Jets have their feet to the fire to the Packers because the fans, the ownership, everybody's waiting on Aaron Rodgers to be in New York.
Yeah.
If Gutekunst and Murphy take a second round draft choice for Rodgers, I just think it's highway robbery.
What if it's a second round pick and a starter?
Depends on who the starter is.
Like a wide receiver.
Depends on how good the wide receiver is. I mean, a starter.
Like let's say Elijah Moore that everybody wants. They've wanted for the last year. Speedster, slot type of receiver, younger, still on a rookie deal.
What's the possibility of them giving him up?
Pretty good because there was issues. He didn't want to be there last year. And now you got Garrett Wilson.
But does he want to come to Green Bay? Does he want to come to Green Bay and play for a quarterback like Jordan Love?
Well, he played for Zach Wilson last year.
I know, but he didn't have any choice there.
Well, he didn't really get any playing time, so I think he wants to go to a team that's going to give him playing time.
Well, I don't know much about Elijah Moore, but
I'd be good with it. If they get Elijah Moore, I'd be happy with that.
All right, if he'd want to come here, and of course I don't know how much say I don't know how much say he'd have in it.
None.
Well, then,
yeah.
But I can imagine, could I stay in New York and play with Aaron Rodgers, or do I go in Green Bay and play with Jordan Love, who?
Well, he'd probably
be
like,
know if he's going to be any good or not. It might cost me a lot of money. 1 year with Aaron Rodgers, and I put up some numbers. I go for 1,000 yards and 70 catches.
He'd probably be like fourth on the depth chart in Green Bay. He'd probably be top 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, and we got to take a break, and I know we got to wrap this up, but the part of the intrigue I have in this whole thing is like, we're going to know answers now. Answers about how good of a play caller and coach is Matt LaFleur. How good of a GM is Brian Gutekunst.
He's been noticeably quiet during this whole thing.
I feel bad for him because the last 3 teams that have wanted Aaron Rodgers have been his best friends.
Yep. I feel sorry because I don't know if the front office has put the muffle on him or whatever, but nobody's asked him anything, and I don't know if I were him, I was saying I have absolutely no status in this organization. I'm the head coach, and nobody's asking me. At least I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll know how good of a offensive scheme play calling he'll be. No more excuses with Aaron. We'll see how good of a GM. There'll be answers or questions answered in the next couple of years. We'll know.
I think there are going to be some questions answered about Gutekunst in the next few days or weeks or whatever it is on the compensation. I think that's going to go a long way in how good a negotiator Gutekunst and Murphy are.
Kind of wish there maybe was another team involved to spike up the building, but at the same time there is like no other quarterbacks available, so it kind of evens out that way too. So.
And that puts, as you said earlier, there's nothing else for the Jets. Their back is against the wall. They either pull the trigger and give us a 1 or whatever the case may be, but a second, no.
They can try getting Lamar Jackson if they wanted to, but that's 2 first-round picks then. So, and then that's not even a guarantee because Ravens could just match it, then it's over with. So I don't know, but interesting times, that's for sure. Holy moly. Never thought I would be here 15 years later talking about, well, I wasn't talking about it in 2008. I was talking about it with my buddies in college and frustrated and all that, but never thought we'd see a repeat.
I didn't either.
15 years later.
I didn't either.
So, all right, we got to take that break. And
you appreciate, as you said, the gentleman Bart Starr was.
Yeah. And I know everybody I wanted a storybook ending. I'll get to that later. We got to take a break. We'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, we got less than a minute until we get caught off here. Do you want to do a little receiver defer starting off the next hour?
Yeah, we did one already, but we can probably figure a few more out.
All right, we'll hit that up. So, and then at the bottom of the hour, we'll talk a little Packers tailgate tour with Caitlin from Bolton Refuge House. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, make sure you do so before they go quick. Coming up on April 11th, less than a month away. Like I said, we got a lot of stuff coming up here in the next few weeks here. So, two in, one more to go. Got some news updates. Then we'll kick off the 8 o'clock hour with a little receive or defer. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Third hour kicking off right now on this Friday morning. Appreciate you all tuning in and making us part of your start before the weekend is upon us. Maybe we'll see you in a few hours from now. We'll be watching a couple or some of the games going on at Hy-Vee. I'll be there from about 12 too, but everything starts at 11 over there. Get the wing specials, burger specials, and free beer.
Just about time to watch Chippewa Falls McDonald play.
Yeah, about that too. Yeah, because the first game is going to be at 9:05. So when that game's done, it'll be about 20 minutes after that tip-off too. So I think the first one is Wassa Newman going up there. Whitehall falling yesterday. I know you said you were just there, and they were pretty pumped up going back to state. Brandon was talking a little bit about it yesterday, but you said you were there for an event. They had both their
I was there on Tuesday.
Trophies out.
Yeah, they had their trophies out, and they were fired up. Unfortunately, they kind of caught in a buzzsaw last night with with Luther, Onalaska Luther, and again, it'll bring up the constant conversation that we've had ever since the old WISAA has left and everybody's now in the WIAA. Is it fair to have a school the same size as Onalaska Luther in the same division? Because Whitehall kids are Whitehall kids, Onalaska Luther kids like Regis kids and some of the other ones, they come from a lot of different school districts because they recruit. I mean, we see that Whitefish Bay Dominican, and you saw that, and they got beat yesterday, this Milwaukee Academy of Sciences, and, they recruit kids. They're private schools.
Oh, that'll be there for a while.
Oh, yeah, that'll be a conversation they'll have for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Let's want to do a little receiver defer?
Sure.
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
Well, I was thinking with Jordan Love being the quarterback of the Packers, receiver defer, the Packers need to find a wide receiver of the Adam Thielen type rather than a speed receiver, more of a control
possession
receiver.
type of receiver.
Yeah, a control receptor, because Robert Tunyon's gone and he wasn't a significant factor in the passing offense ever anyway. He had potential, quote unquote, but never really reached that potential that people thought he had. But I think is a guy like Alan Thielen the kind of free agent they should go for rather than a speed receiver on the outside, losing Lazard.
Are you factoring in tight ends when you say receivers?
Yep.
Okay, then I'll say receive.
Yeah.
Because I'll say I want a tight end. I want a reliable tight end. I know we all wish to have the Travis Kelce's of the world and all that. I want a reliable tight end, safety net tight end sort of thing. So, and that's where I'm curious with the whole, how does the offense, I think the offense is going to look different. I think it's going to be more of what Matt LaFleur wants to do. The typical 49ers Shanahan style of offense. Now that Aaron's gone, will be gone, I think you're going to see a quarterback. Yeah. You're going to see a quarterback maybe that plays within that offense a little bit more. If you want to call it a game manager, go ahead and call it a game manager, but not really adapting what Aaron likes to do and then what LaFleur wants to do and trying to mesh it. It's going to be a LaFleur full-on offense. So that's where I'm kind of intrigued, or I should say I am intrigued and cautiously optimistic to see what it looks like.
But I think you got to have a good quarterback to do that. You look what happened to the Rams when Stafford went down. Mm-hmm. He was a game manager of McVay. Then you look at the trouble, San Francisco went a long way with Purdy and
that's where I'm curious. I mean, they still were able to win a bunch of games with the last pick of the draft because he was playing within that Shanahan offense a little bit. I mean, and then
how much of the offense contributed to the success of the 49ers versus their defense?
No doubt. Yeah, 49ers defense is fantastic. And then Brock Purdy, I mean, let's face it, he had some guys surrounding him too with Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and
But he did
Deebo
do a nice
Samuel.
job. I give the kid credit.
But I think if we said, okay, his play caller head coach is Kyle Shanahan or Matt Eberflus, the Bears head coach, who's a defensive-minded head coach, maybe Brock Purdy doesn't have as much success. I think coaching and all that sort of stuff and play calling, a guy that will call plays at best, puts that guy in position to succeed, I think makes a difference too.
But I think you're right with Aaron Rodgers 90% gone and Jordan Love being the quarterback. I think too, this is the point where now LaFleur is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a co-in charge type thing with Aaron Rodgers. With Jordan Love, this is how we're going to do it. This is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And but again, do you have talent to do it? You still have to have an offensive line. I think they'll have the running backs to do it, but will they have the receivers? Will they have the offensive line? It's still, there are still a lot of factors that weigh into the success.
Field Yates just tweeted out the Packers converting more salary cap space. They restructured Rasul Douglas's contract, which is no big surprise. That was to be expected here, but creating more salary cap space. So, what does that mean? Does it mean anything? I don't know. I mean, but when you look at it right now, Packers are top 10 in available salary cap space, and that includes with Aaron on there.
They have money available?
Oh, yeah. You're talking now with that. It's probably, let me double check, but it's probably close to $30 million available.
But depending on how good the free agents you get are.
Well, there's like none left now. It seems like.
That's a good point.
Rashawn Gary's probably going to get a new contract, which will lower that. Okay, so yeah, maybe about $25 million available in cap space right now. 25. This one's as updated.
I got to ask you this question because I always hear that they've restructured this contract. Can the team just go ahead and tell a guy we're going to restructure your contract, or does this have to be a mutual agreement?
No, a lot of the times the team can just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And it's usually what it is that these players will get money up front right away. But what it is, it creates it into a bonus, so they get that bonus right away, but then they can spread out that cap hit. So, yeah, a lot of these instances, no, they don't need the player's permission. They can just go ahead and do it. Which the player's like, okay, I get more money right up front, right away, sort of thing. But, yeah, so I don't know if this really means anything. I don't know, but interesting, I still think, too, that they're about, like, around 10, 11 in available cap space. Yep, but they're not making a lot of moves. So
no, they never do make a lot of moves, so I don't know.
At least not in that first week.
No, so we'll see. But like I said earlier, I just, because of their performance, I think the Packers are going to underperform in both the free agency and the draft.
Could you see a similar season of 2008, Rodgers' first year, where they went 6-10? But there was a little optimism surrounding, like, okay, Aaron's. I don't think anybody expected him to be a 4-time MVP after 2008. But I know for me personally, I was never a Rodgers guy. Even like leading into 2008, I was at the first game. I was like, okay, yep, not bad. I was at the last game of the season. Rodgers has talked about this many times as being a top moment in his life. Running off the field of that game, it was when the Lions went winless. And he got a standing ovation, and he felt like that was kind of like when he was finally accepted. And that's kind of when I felt like, okay, I'm good with this guy. Still didn't expect him to win 4 MVPs or, have the career that he had.
I expected him to win 4 Super Bowls.
4 Super Bowls?
Well, I mean,
after 2008?
Well, okay, yeah, no, not after 2008, but I mean, you look at his career, 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
you didn't expect him to win 4 Super Bowls after 2008, like you just said.
Mm-hmm.
But the career he's had, and is it his fault? Is it an organizational fault? We've said it before. You've got Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers for 30 years of quarterbacking. You got 2 Super Bowls. That's a sin on your soul.
Yeah, and that I would agree that you need more than you asked. Like I asked Brandon yesterday, they would have killed for that for Minnesota.
Well, yeah,
but it's different.
Well, they were the same. I mean, they were in 4 Super Bowls, never won any.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same kind of frustration that Packer fans have over not.
By the way, R.I.P. Bud Grant.
Yeah, great man, no question about it. He was a great man, a great leader, and you had to admire Bud Grant. There's no question about it. He was a number one.
Yeah,
and so character-wise, football-wise, I mean, he inspired Minnesota football, outdoor football, no heaters on the sidelines. I mean, from day one, the Vikings were a thorn in the Packers' side. You think, well, they're an expansion team. They gave the Packers all they wanted from the get-go, and that's a lot of Bud Grant. And they had 4 Super Bowl chances, never won any of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the Packer frustration. Yeah, we've got 2 Super Bowls, I'm taking this far way back to the Bart Starr years, but 2 Super Bowls in the last 30 years. That's the same frustration. Well, we've got 2 trophies. They don't have any, but still, frustration is we should have more.
I obviously wasn't around when Bud was, coaching with those Super Bowls with the Vikings and such, but I still my image of him, and it would be different for people who are older than me, but was that playoff game in Minnesota with Seattle when it was at TCF. It was like negative.
Mm-hmm.
I think Luke was at the game, but it was like one of their coolest games. I don't know if you remember. He walks up for the coin toss in just a polo, no jacket, nothing.
He's tough.
He's like 90, 89 years old.
He's tough.
Ball cap, not a stocking cap, polo, and I've heard people. I've never been to it. I don't know if Murph's ever done it because he always used to do those garage sales, right? Didn't he always used to do like a garage sale fishing stuff, fishing lures or something like that? That was always a popular thing too. But
Bud Grant was a great man. He really was, not just for football, but as a leader, and just he deserves all the accolades he has gotten.
Because I think he came over from the Canadian Football League, right?
Yeah, he was in the Canadian Football. He's from Wisconsin originally, and he went to the Canadian League and won championships there, and played professional football and led the Vikings. I mean, he was a leader, not just a coach. He was the leader of that team. Some of these coaches, like is LaFleur the leader of this team? He's the head coach, but maybe it'll turn into that now. But with Rodgers there, was he the leader of the team? You had Fran Tarkenton, and you had some pretty big personalities during the Vikings heydays, and Bud Grant was the leader. He was the clearinghouse of Viking football.
Yep. Yeah. Was it Superior? I think he was from.
Yeah,
Superior
that way.
So, but 95 years old. So
good long life. But he was the kind of guy. He was an inspiration to a lot of people. He was a role model.
Yep, no doubt. So, not to get sidetracked or anything, but that's what we do best sometimes. So, did you have any more receiver defers on that list?
Well, I was just looking at baseball, and I've been watching some of these preseason games, not entirely, but watching an inning or two, whatever. But receiver defer, both ERAs and batting averages will be higher this year. I think
both ERAs
because of the shift
average,
and because of that pitching clock.
Yeah, I'll receive that.
Yeah, I think so too, because I think the shift is going to make a difference for batting averages. And I think, that's naturally going to put pressure on ERAs. But I think the batters are going to be more focused. The pitchers are always focused, but the batters are going to be more focused because they don't have time to get out and adjust everything from their shoe tops to their batting helmet between pitches. And they're going to have to stay in the batter's box. And I think that's going to keep them more focused. I think it'll be a fun season, but I think we're going to see a lot more action in baseball this year, and I think both ERAs and batting averages are going to go up.
Yeah, I would agree with that, definitely. So, opening day, less than 2 weeks away. Yeah. I don't think it's kind of hit me yet, just because there's so much going on right now.
Yeah, there's so much going on with the Packers and the Bucks being in the hunt. Obviously, they're the hunted right now, is what it amounts to, and there is a lot going on, and we haven't had any remarkably warm weather yet, so it doesn't feel like baseball at all.
I'll ask you this, it's not really a receiver defer, but because we're getting close to the Masters too, coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Boy, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Scotty Scheffler's got the menu out for his champions dinner. If you were the Masters champion, since you were in green, what would be on your Masters dinner?
Pretty traditional, steak and lobster type of thing,
like a little surf and turf.
Yeah, exactly. What's he got out for his?
He's got
to have Texas.
He's got a little Texas flavor to it.
Barbecue or whatever.
It's ribeye.
Yep.
Let me bring it up here. Okay, here we go. So his hors d'oeuvres are cheeseburger sliders and firecracker shrimp. Also, appetizer is tortilla soup. Southern flair there.
French onion soup with mozzarella over the top.
That's for you.
Yep.
Texas ribeye steak or blackened redfish. Family style mac and cheese, jalapeno creamed corn.
What's with this mac and cheese all of a sudden?
Mac and cheese? A good homemade mac and cheese?
Mac and cheese is a main course of these dinners.
Well, it's a side with the ribeye steak and blackened redfish. Fried Brussels sprouts and seasoned fries. And then, you already had one kind of. Dessert is a warm chocolate chip skillet cookie.
Ooh, I could go for that.
Yeah. With milk and cookie ice cream.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Makes
I
you
think it's
hungry
going
right
to be
now.
fun. What? All right. Tell me what is going on. Are all the past champions, even if they're at Live, are they invited to be playing in this tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, I think so.
All
That's
right.
the last I heard. So
I don't have a problem with it. I just
Mhm.
didn't know what the rule was. I don't like that Live thing. I watch it, and those guys are playing. They play in the PGA. They play in long pants, and it separates them from the fans behind the ropes who are all in shorts, and I think that's good. In Live, they're playing in shorts, and they look like the fans. I don't know if they're a fan or if they're a player, and they play on teams. I can't figure the out, and I just don't understand it. But whether it's going to survive or how much more it's, because I know PGA golf is changing all the time, but what the end game is here, I don't know. The end game, we all know what the end game is, and that's money. And how much money they think they're going to be playing to attract these players, I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see if indeed the money is more important than going down in golf history. If they can all play the Masters, because the Masters is an entity unto itself, as we all know. But, the British Open, the U.S. Open, the PGA, they're not in that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't seen any of those guys play golf in over a year. They're kind of off the radar.
Yeah, Phil was just talking about the other day. He was asked about his return to, Live and his return to Augusta. He said, no expectation, really. We were just looking forward to playing, competing, being part of it. People playing, competing in the Masters are friends for decades, and I'm looking forward to seeing them again. There was some talk, too, because of, like, the Champions Dinner, because Phil is a champion there and that
Sergio
sort of thing.
and Dustin Johnson, and there are a few of
them. There's been like, is there going to be some like throw down at the man, sort of thing like that. But like Tiger even came out and said, we as a whole need to honor Scotty. It's all focused on Scotty for that Champions Dinner. So, which it should be.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, that's coming up. You should, April 7th, put this on your calendar. It's Friday. We're going to be doing a live show, but our good friends from Carpet City Flooring Center are putting together a kind of a nice putting thing. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Good.
We're working on that. See if you got any skills.
Still on my bucket list. My bucket list to go to Augusta and, just go. We can't.
Would you be happy just going if it's not the Masters?
I'd like to just be able to walk the course just to see it for my own background. And I don't know if I'm so focused on watching it on TV, because you see so much of the tournament. There are so many people there, and I don't, they block the greens, they put a chair down and then they leave, and the chair stays there, and they might only sit in it for half an hour a day. And some of that stuff, when I go to a golf tournament, I like to move around and find a spot where I can get on the ropes. And watch these guys hit. I don't want to be, I'm lucky I'm tall enough I can see over the top a lot of times, but I don't want to stand 10, 12, 15 deep. I want to be able to move around the golf course and see the golf course and not just sit in one spot.
I saw somebody post this question. It's winter, but like the old course, St. Andrews, would you still play it even though you'd have to use because there was somebody playing it, but you had to use a mat? You could go on the course, but you couldn't obviously hit off the ground. You had to take a mat with you and hit it. Would you still do that?
Sure.
I would too.
Sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. Say I played St. Andrews.
A little elevated. I might get a little bit more loft on that thing there.
Yep. And when I was in California just now on my farm tour, and then I visited my son who lives in Monterey in the Army. He won't be there long, but we went to Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is, it's like it's like going to out to Timber Terrace or any of these other ones. It's public course, so you can park and walk to the clubhouse and go out on the golf course and everything else.
Nice.
And I've been on I've walked part of the first hole and been down the 18th at Pebble Beach, and along the 17-mile drive where the Lonesome Tree sits, and seen all that. But I'd love to be able to try and play Pebble Beach, because it's an iconic course. And if you ever get out that way, make sure you take the 17-mile drive and get off at Pebble Beach and walk to the clubhouse. You walk up and they got guys standing by the door in uniforms, like a doorman. You think, oh, they're not going to let me in. You walk up, they open the door. Good afternoon, sir. And you walk. You can have lunch right there in the cafeteria, in the restaurant overlooking the 18th green. It's a public course.
Well, snap.
First time I was there, Clint Eastwood.
I thought I was going to bring up
I'm a
Clint
name
Eastwood.
dropper.
Yeah.
I'm dropping names now. But Clint Eastwood was playing the 18th hole, the 18th green. He came up, hi, Clint. Hey, how you doing, guys? And, he went into the clubhouse. Oprah Winfrey was up in the clubhouse. She was going to do her program from there, interviewing Clint Eastwood and his wife or something like that. So you never know who you're going to see there. But it's a public course. You can go in and use the restrooms, and you don't have paper towels in there. They've got regular towels that you use. And I mean, you see all the trophies, and and also you can get on the practice screen there, and they got the shops that you can buy stuff. But practice screen, they got cameras there, so you can call your buddies and tell them, hey, Google Pebble Beach and get on the camera, and I'm on the putting green.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, it's a public course.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a neat place. Go into the starter shack, and you never know who you're going to see there.
Wow. Do you know what the greens fees are? Because I have them.
It's about $500.
Yeah, you're not bad. It's $5.95 per player, but if you want to snag that quote deal, you need to book quickly because starting on April 1st, that rate increases to $6.25.
Now that's green fees. You still got your caddy tip, and you got to take a caddy type of thing. So, but it's not like going to a ball game. Like if I'm going to a Brewers game, I don't go to a lot of games because it's 3-4 hours away. I'm not going to sit in the left field bleachers. I'm buying a box seat. I'm going to get a good seat so I can see the game.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You're not going to play Pebble Beach every month or every year. You might play it. If you play it more than once in your life, you're lucky.
Yeah, caddies will set you back. It says here 150 to 155.
Yeah, exactly. So you're talking,
and then
by the time you play golf, tip your caddy, buy memorabilia, shirt or cap or whatever, have lunch. You might be talking $1,000.
Well, and here's the other part too. So those rates I gave you, it says it's also important to note that rate is only available to resort guests, meaning you have to stay on site in the lodge, the inn at Spanish Bay, to claim it. All three of which also include a hefty nightly price tag. You're talking about $1,900 some bucks. So minimum about $2,400. Well, there goes my dream when you're sitting there talking about a public course. And
I mean, it's public course. I didn't say how expensive it was. You're not paying Timber Trail or Timber Terrace prices, but it's Pebble Beach. And, you talk to all these guys, what are the iconic courses in the world? The Old Course, Pebble Beach,
Augusta.
And Augusta. Those probably the top three that people will mention. If you want to play them, you got to pay the freight.
Well, everybody shoots under par at Pebble Beach. Maybe we have a shot to break 80 over there.
I'll tell you, if you get a calm day, I've been there on a calm day and I've been there on a windy day.
Yeah.
And believe me, you see the surf pounding over the shore on the 18th hole, that par 5 with the tree on the right side of the fairway. I'm glad I'm watching and not playing a day like that.
Yeah, that make me a little nervous too.
But it's a beautiful place because you drive down and you can see not the whole course, but you can see through the houses and the things like that. The houses on the course, and it's beautiful.
Doesn't Jim Nance live over there somewhere?
Yep, Jim Nance lives on the course.
That's what I thought. Yeah, he's got that par 3 in his backyard.
Yep,
so.
and he has I don't know if he lives on the course, but I mean he's right there, and I know he has a big party for the players before the tournament, the Pebble Beach tournament every year. So, well,
I'm hoping that's who I picked for I know you got to get going here, but I'm going with the storybook ending since this is Jim Nance's final four. Houston,
where he went to college.
Yep,
he and Freddie
Couples
were good buddies.
So I hope he calls a win, and then he's got to go right to the Masters. He's gonna be flying high, and what if Freddie has a good weekend? Then
he's a great announcer. I've never heard him take sides or do. I mean, he's just a great announcer. He really has been, and he's one of the best ever.
I agree. So, all right, dude. I know you got to get going. So
work to do.
Yep. Coming up next, we're going to be
by next Thursday. We'll have the answer on Aaron Rodgers.
No, no. I'm not holding my breath. So, speaking of that, though, Packers wise, we'll be talking with Bolton Refuge House. Packers tailgate tour is going to be coming to town on August 11th. we'll learn a little bit more about that and what Bolton Refuge is if you don't know a little bit about their background. So that's coming up after these couple words. All right, Packers fans, I know you are excited for next month, April 11th. The Packers tailgate tour starts off, but we get dibs because they're stopping in our great city of Eau Claire first, and it's going to be at the Lismore. But the best thing about these Packers tailgate tours, if you know a little bit of a background, they go to help local organizations. And I know they were in Chippewa a few years ago, but now they're coming to Eau Claire and they're helping out the Bolton Refuge House. And helping us kind of preview that and talk a little bit about it, Caitlin Wonderland from the Bolton Refuge House. Caitlin, thanks for making some time and stopping in and talking about this awesome event with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You got it. So take us a little bit behind the scenes if you can. You get the call or a message, or how did that kind of work out with So I'm assuming somebody from the Packers kind of reached out to you and said, hey, we're interested in helping out Bolton Refuge as part of our Packer Tailgate Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Packers reached out to us and had just kind of explained the whole tailgate tour and how they do a lot of community outreach. It's really about being part of the community where they're visiting.
Mm-hmm.
And they had offered to do this event with us, being that we're part of Eau Claire and the Eau Claire community. And they had said, it really is up to you kind of how you would like the event to go. We just want to be able to support you in whatever your work is. So from there, we worked with their team to kind of come up with the event as it is today. So we had said we really want it to be a big community event that people can go see our work and see the Packers, which is the most important part.
Right. And we were talking a little bit off the air, and the last 2 years that I've seen this, I've been to a few of them. I know a while ago it was in Menominee and mentioned Chippewa. This is the best lineup I have seen in a long time. And like I know you'd kind of mentioned too, we get the first stop in Eau Claire, which is exciting. They're fresh and, all that. They're probably more energized and ready to go because they're not going to be on a bus for the last couple of days. But Aaron Jones, a Pro Bowl, all-pro running back. Elton Jenkins just signed a huge contract to stay with the Packers, Pro Bowl. Romeo Dobbs had a great rookie season. You got 2 Alabama kids, Eddie Lacy and HaHa Clinton Dix, and Devon House, who has a little bit of an Eau Claire connection, if you remember a few years ago, with the trip from Eau Claire to Green Bay from the airport. Chad, our good friend and listener over there. And, of course, Mark Murphy, the president, too. And that's a fantastic lineup. You guys got to be excited about that.
We are so excited. We have been really excited just with definitely the lineup, but also with the support already. We've seen some of the players posting on their own social media, talking about the tour and how excited they are. And for us, it's just an exciting thing because when you do the work that we do with working with people who are victims, especially of types of violence, domestic violence, sexual violence, it's hard to make people care a little bit because it's just something that we don't talk about a lot. So to have such big names and people who are so important to Wisconsin, especially who want to support our work and want to talk about our work, want to come here, want to be excited, they want to meet people, they want to talk to people here. It's a dream come true for us, truly.
So can you give us a little bit of a background on Bolton, like what you provide, and anybody listening right now that maybe isn't too familiar with it, that you can give us a little bit of a background on it?
Yeah, so we are services for anybody who's been impacted by domestic violence, intimate partner violence, or sexual assault. And our services are completely free. They're always confidential, and we're always available 24/7. So there's always somebody in the building who can answer our crisis call. We help with legal advocacy. We help with individual talking to people. We have a children's program. We have an adult program. So we do a lot of things both with prevention and with supporting survivors of violence.
Awesome. So you can get more information probably at your website too, boltonrefuge.org, right?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. So that's a fantastic organization, and you got to be very proud of some of the work that you guys do.
Yeah, I think that doing this work, it is an emotional roller coaster, as you can imagine, because it's a lot of working with people who've been through kind of the worst thing that you can survive. But at the same time, letting people know that you have survived this and there is support, not only from people who work at Bolton Refuge House, but we're lucky enough to have volunteers who come in because they see the value of our work. We're lucky enough to talk to people in the community who will let us talk about what we do.
Right.
So it's helpful to be able to say, you have all of these people behind you to say, we support you and we want to be here for you and we believe you, which means so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where this tailgate tour comes into play too with the tickets. I know you guys are already sold out of the VIP thing, which is awesome to see that one already out there. Still general admission tickets available for $50, but purchasing these tickets also, that's what's helping you guys out at Bolton Refuge too.
Yeah, so purchasing the tickets is going to support our work, and especially with our sheltering services. So we have experienced a huge deficit as far as like $100,000 that we're missing to provide our emergency shelter. So this could not have come at a better time.
Yeah.
We're so appreciative to the Packers for being able to give us this opportunity to still provide the services. And that's what your money is going towards. When you're coming to the event, you're going to get to see them, going to get to interact, but also support our work.
Exactly. And so you're going to get to experience a player Q&A, live auction of autographed Packers memorabilia. Mark Murphy's hosting that. I hope he's got the auction voice ready to go down.
I think he does. I think he's well practiced. Yeah.
Good deal. All right. Cool thing here too, a performance of an original work by the Eau Claire Women in Theater.
Yeah. So they do great work, but they're kind enough to have worked with us personally and work with our advocates to create a new piece of theater that's about our services, but from a fun and engaging side, which I know it sounds a little bit like it's hard to do, but they're going to really be talking about what we all can do to support survivors. And it's going to be a great way to kick off the event, both to
Mhm.
say like, hey, we're here to really enjoy our time, and this is what all of your money is working towards. It's helpful because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And
Okay.
so they're going to be able to talk a lot about kind of raising awareness, making sure everybody knows, but still in a very fun, exciting, like, let's go from here and let's make some change kind of a
Right.
way.
So the timing works out, coincides perfectly with
Mhm.
that too. Light outdoors and photo booths and so much more. And it's all at the Lismore, which is a fantastic facility. If anybody's never been to Lismore, this is a great opportunity to go check it out. The layout, I'm assuming, is probably like in one of the ballrooms there too. It's
Yep.
perfect spot for all this.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting to expose the Lismore too, a little bit more downtown Eau Claire.
Yeah, and even so, the Lismore is a great venue, and they've been great working with us. And it's something that we're really lucky just to have in Eau Claire, is to
Yeah.
have a place that's open and available to have things like this. And even the VIP experience will be in the dive too. So that's their
Oh,
kind of
perfect. Yep.
upstairs section. So you'll get to see a lot of the Lismore and a lot of their amenities that they have.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to Bolton Refuge to talk a little bit more about that. You mentioned, for cases like this, the person, if they're seeking help, they can kind of remain anonymous,
Mhm.
right? They don't, their names don't have to be out there or anything like that, which is,
Right.
I have to imagine, a very important aspect of that.
Yes. So, as advocates, we have what's called like a legal privilege
Mhm.
with the client, is what we call the individuals we work with. So we legally will not say anything about them. We'll say, I really can't confirm or deny anything about them, which is something that is so important to anybody who's been experiencing any kind of violence, because the person that they're most afraid of might be trying to call and get information about them.
Mhm.
So we have a big responsibility to make sure that we don't say anything.
Right.
But that being said, we always like to make it available for survivors to tell their story anonymously. So never with any kind of a name attached to it. But if they wanted to say something, we will help to get them those opportunities to say, I really want to talk to maybe this person who really helped me along the way.
Mhm.
Or I really want to talk to this person about the way that I saw it as a survivor in 2023, especially.
Mhm.
So it's been really cool to be able to kind of be that go-between of both, we're anonymous, I'm not going to tell you anything about this, but if you want a chance to talk to this person, maybe we can set something up.
Do you guys take volunteers
Yeah.
with the organization too?
Yeah, absolutely. We are so thankful for volunteers because they help with both our maintenance of our building. We don't have a maintenance budget, so we
Mhm.
don't have someone who just comes in regularly. It's a lot of times staff
Right.
and volunteers. And then we also have volunteers who they have a passion or something that they're very good at, and they can teach our clients. They can make it something that is really empowering to the people that we help. Just an example is we've had people who are into martial arts.
Oh.
So they'll come and they'll do kind of like a health and wellness, like this is kind of raising your body heart rate, this is kind of getting back down. We've had people who come in who are really talented with like children's activities, and they'll run
nice.
like a craft day for all of our kiddos. So those are the ones that I really enjoy the most, because they come in and they have a passion for it and they can share it with everyone else.
That's awesome. Yeah, you volunteers, I think, for a lot of organizations, they're the most important people out there.
Mhm.
It's the people that dedicate their time. I used to work at a YMCA, and I was like so dependent on volunteers to
Mhm.
help me officiate games or even coach teams or something like that. They don't get any extra perks. They just do it because they care that much,
Yeah.
and they want to help out others too.
Yeah, and they can see the importance of what you're doing too. Of like,
Mhm.
you can see, something about coaching, something about working with kids. You can see, well, they feel more confident. They're
Right.
better at the sport, but they're also walking around with their head held a little bit higher. So,
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
So, and then, I'm just kind of looking at your website here too. And if anybody's interested in just donating too, you do have that easy button option on your website to help kind of donate some monetary funds too.
Yeah, absolutely. So people can donate through the website. You can come in. We're available 24/7, like I had said, with a check, or super easily. Technology's great
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then it looks like too, sometimes you do take other donations on there as well. Like I'm seeing like current needs on here, just kind of some other necessities. It kind of seems like.
Yeah, so that's a great place to look for those needs, because our website's always changing. We
Mhm.
kind of have different needs. For example, in the winter, we might need more salt with
Right,
all
yeah.
of the
It's Wisconsin.
fun
You might need
winter.
it 9 months out of 12. So.
Yep, exactly. More often than you'd think. But
Yep.
then in summer, sometimes we'll put stuff like we do a summer camp for free for kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we'll have like sidewalk chalk. Kind of our needs will be changing on there for both Eau Claire, and then we serve Buffalo and Jackson County. So we'll have all of that on our
Oh, so it's
website.
not just Eau Claire. It's you got quite a wide range there.
Yeah, and it's super interesting. I work a lot up in Eau Claire, but we have other advocates who work in Buffalo and Jackson County, and as close as we are this side of the state, there's really some different dynamics in the more rural counties or even the more rural parts of Eau Claire. So it's helpful to have kind of experts who know a lot about different communities.
I'm really interested to learn more about the kids camp over there too. Or like that's really cool because we do a thing called Backyard Dreams, which is designed for kids to kind of help chase their goals and dreams in that way too. So whenever I hear people helping out kids too, that hits close to my heart there too. So that's fantastic to hear that you guys also do something for the kids in the summer, a free summer camp too.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
is so awesome.
And I tell people, like, I engineered this perfectly because it's part of my job now. So I get
awesome.
to make the curriculum, and we always talk about like a day where we're going to talk about being a friend.
Mhm.
So then we're going to talk about what makes a good friend. We're going to do all sorts of outdoor, indoor games. There's always a craft, always a snack. So again, I've planned this perfectly to make my job something where I just get to have fun during the day.
That's the thing with the kids. You can't not have fun,
Yep.
right? Exactly. So that's awesome to hear that. I did not know that. That's fantastic. Anybody interested in that? Do they just kind of go to the website again and get a hold of you for their kiddos or maybe for a kid for that camp?
Absolutely. So they're welcome to either go to the website. Even if they wanted to any time of the year, they can let us know because we'll get them in contact with the advocate running it, get them signed up.
Perfect. So again, the tailgate tours coming up on the 11th, which is less than a month already, people. So it's coming fast. And with, basketball kind of wrapping up with tournaments, we got opening day for baseball. It's going to be here quicker. So it's going to be right around the corner here. So the easiest way to get tickets, would it be your website again to purchase them on your website?
Yeah, they can go to boltonrefuge.org/Packers.
That's easy, right?
Yeah,
there.
it's easy enough. Yeah, you can just remember the event, remember our name, and that's all you need.
Perfect. Yeah. So you got the general admission tickets, $50 for all that stuff, the Q&A, the auction too. Don't know what kind of, there's going to be some good stuff, the memorabilia, autographed memorabilia, and then, just interacting with other people too in our community. And, that's going to be the fun part with that too, but it's all going to a good cause. Bolton Refuge,
Definitely.
Bolton Refuge House. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to get over there. I don't think Aaron Jones is going to remember me or Mark Murphy, but that's okay.
You never know. I don't know.
I don't know. But, and you know what? I'm just telling you right now, Packers fans, with everything going on, this is a perfect time to maybe hear from the man himself and some of, the teammates and that over there too. So interest is high. You want to make sure you get your tickets before they go like that really quick. So Caitlin, it was wonderful chatting with you. I can't wait to chat with you more leading up to this too. And, we're going to get you on more here to talk about Bolton Refuge if you're up for it. So
yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much for stopping in.
Thank you.
Catching up with our good friends from Hy-Vee this morning. Phil from Hy-Vee is in studio, and we're going on right now. We've got March Madness that's tipping off. Games tipping off. They tipped off Thursday.
Yep.
And then we've got Free Beer Friday.
Free Beer Friday.
Free Beer Friday. How about that?
Yeah, that's exciting. So yeah, we partnered with Park Ridge and with Dan here, and your first beer, Michelob Ultra, your first beer when you come into the bar, that's free. That's on us. So starting this Friday, and then we also got some green beer tomorrow. We've got Dan, you're going to be there.
Yeah, yep, 12 to 2 we're going to be there because also it's $2 Man Cave Light Taps on there as well. So you got Dan Good Burger specials out here too.
Yep, we got Dan Good Burger. That's $10 for a Dan Good Burger, have fries and a drink. And then, burgers aren't your thing, which the Dan Good Burger should be your thing.
I do have one complaint. My wife came in the other day and said there was only one left.
it. I'll tell the customer stop buying it.
Right.
You can't buy those. Those are for Dan. But we've also got a cool wing special too. So for $10, same thing. So we got $10 boneless wings, fries, and drink as well. So that's another great one.
Your wings, the first time I actually had them was our draft party last year when you had the wing specials on there. Sauces.
They're good.
Yeah, man.
They are good. And while we're on the topic of Wahlburgers, because it's also Burger Week here in Eau Claire, right? With Volume 1, with partner Volume 1.
You're right.
So we're on the list. I know there's like 20 other people, but we picked our slider trio, which I think is just such a cool thing because you get 3 different Wahlburgers burgers. So you get to pick whichever 3 you want.
Yep.
So right now, when you buy one of those, you're getting another one half off. So
heck yeah.
Yeah,
6 burgers,
6 burgers, and you get 6 different burgers because I think we got 8 to pick from. So
that's cool because I mean, when you first said that, I'm thinking of like the flights.
Yeah,
something like that.
It's like a burger flight.
It's a burger flight. Yeah,
man, that's what we should call them.
Right,
just burger flights.
That's right. I forgot it's Burger Week going on. So yeah, get on over there and try that out.
We're in there, and it's just we got the special going, and I love the sliders. Like I do, they're the perfect size to because I'm that guy. I'm like I go in there and I stare at that menu forever. I'm like, oh, which burger I'm gonna get? So this solved.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Phil, we're gonna catch up with you again here just a little bit later on this morning. All right, wrapping things up here this morning. Hopefully we'll see you all in just a few hours, couple hours, over at Wahlburgers at Hy-Vee for a little lunch, watching some hoops and such. Free Beer Friday over there, and then it's just $2 for Man Cave Pints over there too. So hopefully we'll have a burger, have some wings, all that good stuff, watch some hoops together. Let's what else do we got on the just saw this on Twitter. So Mike Tanner, who covers football contributor for New York Times Sports. We were talking about leverage a little bit earlier with Packers and Jets, and this is a good example that he kind of explained here. He's like, let's talk about Jets, Packers, Aaron Rodgers, and leverage. If you walk into a car dealership with no car and no way of getting to work, you have very little leverage. If the car salesman knows it, you even have less. If that dealership is, say, the only one that even has a decent car to sell, supply chain issues, and you walk in making it clear you have no car, then you have even less leverage. Now, the car dealer also has potential issues, especially if it knows you are the only buyer who will enter the showroom. They need sales to make money, but they don't need sales as badly as you need a car, and they know it. Returning to Packers, they are highly motivated sellers, but the Jets are much more highly motivated buyers. The Packers need a sale to free assets, and make long-term plans. The Jets need the sale just to freaking operate. So who has leverage? The Packers. Duh. So it was a debate. It was like a lot of back and forth, at least on the socials yesterday, on Twitter and that. Some people feel like it's the Jets because, well, Aaron Rodgers saying he wants to play for the Jets, and that kind of diminishes any of the leverage that the Packers have. But majority really saying that it is going to be, or the leverage belongs to Green Bay. I'm trying to get Andrew Brandt on the program, back on the program, I should say. But he also earlier this hour said some Jets-Packers trade stuff has gone off the rails, some suggesting that Aaron would force the Packers' hand by showing up to OTAs. Please, people, this will be resolved long before that, probably within a week or two. Green Bay may not get much, but will be more than what was offered last week. Stay tuned, right? Stay tuned. How many of you got your brackets busted? According to ESPN, they tweeted out about 9 hours ago, just 0.003% of the brackets are perfect. That's out of 20 million. So I'm assuming it's through their thing, but 20 million brackets, 0.003%, just after day one. Man, that's like what? About 60,000-ish brackets or so. Still, that's just after half of the first round. Arizona, I think, had a big reason to do with that. Obviously, Virginia too, but I wonder now, Virginia, how many people, we were talking about that, and Pat Forty with his article, I mean, really kind of coming down hard on Tony Bennett. And when you look at it with how Virginia has fared, if you take away the national championship in 2019, a lot of first-round exits, and a lot of them coming from double-digit seeds. A lot of Badger fans would love to see Tony Bennett being the head coach for the Badger basketball program, but knowing and kind of seeing what's transpired or gone on outside the 2019 season, does it lose a little bit of luster, do you think, or maybe not really? Okay. Otherwise, we've got Brewers games. Got one today, this afternoon at 3 o'clock. You can check it out on the radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Another spring training action. Got another one coming up tomorrow. We are officially less than 2 weeks away from the start of opening day. Bucks will be back in action on Sunday as they take on the Toronto Raptors. Just a dozen more games left in the regular season. Bucks falling last night, but still holding on to a 2-game lead in the Eastern Conference over the Boston Celtics. Other stuff on the docket, we got Walt McDonald boys basketball. They'll be tipping off in a couple hours because they got the first game. I believe that's the Watson Newman one that's going to be tipping off here in just a few minutes at 9:05. And then that McDonald Central game will tip off, they say, about 20, 25 minutes after the conclusion of this first game. So best of luck to all the teams participating down there. We'll see if McDonald boys can match what the girls did last week and bring back a gold ball themselves. So, but Brandon's down there. You can follow him on Twitter for the updates. Justice was down there yesterday. I don't know if he's still down there today, but Brandon for sure is down there. So you can, if you want to follow along, if you're not able to watch it or anything, you can follow Brandon on Twitter and follow along for his updates. That's that about it. Kind of covering up some of the other stuff there. We talked a little bit about the Packers and do free agent priorities, roster priorities kind of shifted with how this week has gone with free agency. Robert Tunyon's gone. Alan Lazard's gone. Jaron Reed is gone. Aaron Rodgers is going to be gone. We all knew that they were probably going to get a tight end, but now the fact that, Tunyon is definitely not coming back, does that kind of move it up on the list a little bit more? So we talked a little bit about that. We'll see if anything kind of transpires this weekend or not. Anything happens free agency-wise this weekend or not. But Packers did clear more space by restructuring Rasul Douglas's contract this morning. All right. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Enjoy some hoops. Maybe we'll see you here in a couple of hours. If not, have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back at it again Monday morning. It's going to be a fun Monday morning. Peter King, NFL Insider, Football Morning in America, will be joining us. He's out there in New York, too. Be interesting to get his thoughts on the whole Rodgers-Jet situation. Talk to you Monday.